You are watching SSS-Class Snuff-It Hunter. A system notification pinged. My beloved daughter, do not have any expectations. A system notification pinged. Each time you think to yourself, maybe this time. A system notification pinged. The world will whisper back to you, not this time. A system notification pinged. If you still want to put yourself out in the world, then keep this in mind. A system notification pinged. Give your life away without the intent to receive anything in return. A system notification pinged. Forgive the people for holding a carnival for your dead corpse. A system notification pinged. Let the people enjoy their gluttonous feast, whether it be on your purest sacrifices or your naive hopes. A system notification pinged. And just like that, leave nothing in this world on your way out. Ravialavansia said to herself, Mother left those last words to me before dying. She was cremated. The Crown Prince said, What is it? Ravialavansia said, As the backbone of the nation, please bestow upon them your punishment. The Crown Prince, like a sissy, said, Ah, and looks behind. Ravialavansia said, Or should I appeal their crimes to a higher court? Do you plan on taking the route of deposition? Are you trying to test how much His Majesty is willing to tolerate? The Crown Prince said, Sylvia. Sylvia Agony said, You're very good at your job. I like how you pulled us two into this situation too. The Crown Prince can't get a good answer with Sylvia Agony, and was shocked. Sylvia Agony said, Everyone here will be accomplices, and will have to keep their mouths shut. The Crown Prince, confused, said, Sylvia. Sylvia Agony said, It's good for you because your mistakes will be covered up, and I like that the princess will be punished. The problem is that the princess is the only one not benefiting from this situation. How will you reap any benefits from this when you work like this? The Duke family's 3 loyal servants are about to die, you know, and taking the punishment in place of His Highness. I want to know what you're thinking. Ravialavansia said, I don't know what you're talking about. As you've said, they are the Duke family's servants, and as the daughter of the Duke, it makes sense for me to take responsibility for their mistakes. Sylvia Agony said, Aha, you're so pretty, but you're not so good at discussions, are you? Let's be honest. Why are you offering to take the punishment in place of His Highness? Is it perhaps your love? I'm just fulfilling my duties, Lady Golden Flower. It's disloyal to consider benefits and payment, so you don't want any rewards. Ravialavansia said, Do you really want me to answer that? Give up. Whatever you do or say won't affect how I act. The Crown Prince said, Sylvia. Kim Gongja looks at him silently, and thought to himself, the cult interrogator has no intentions of changing Lady Silverlily's mind. The prince can't come to a decision on his own either. In order to resolve this situation, I need to use the knowledge of A. Butler. A system notification pinged. You are cinching with your character. A system notification pinged. Your current synchronization rate is 7%. Kim Gongja said, Please wait for a bit, young lady. Sylvia Agony said, Yes, but what is it? Kim Gongja thought to himself, It's still all right. Kim Gongja said, If those servants are truly behind the assassination, then we have a right to exact revenge. It's not right to leave it just to His Highness to decide on the punishment. Lady Silverlily has also been betrayed by her subordinates, so I say she has a right to give the punishment too. Ravialavansia said, Oh, so. Kim Gongja said, There are 3 servants, and 3 people with the right to punish. Why don't we have 1 person punish each? I'm sure you want to make us accomplices anyway. I think it's too much for His Highness to decide on the punishment alone. Sylvia Agony said, Kim Gongja said, If the 3 of you equally take responsibility, it'll be a good compromise. The Crown Prince said, Ah, I see. You're right. The princess was betrayed by her subordinates. Sylvia was ambushed, and I need to uphold the law. Each person has their own reason, so each one should decide the punishment. Raviel Ivanzia said, Your Highness, a king shouldn't share his responsibilities with others. The crown prince throws the sword at the lady of the silver lily Raviel Ivanzia's long, smooth, silky white legs and says, Shut up. All you ever tell me is to kill, punish, get rid of her. Kim Gongja was shocked, and the crown prince said, Whenever something happens, how many people do you think I've gotten rid of until now? Raviel Ivanzia said, It's the duty of a person who will lead the empire in the future. The crown prince said, I am no murderer. You snake! If you want to see blood spilled that badly, then you kill him yourself. Raviel Ivanzia picks up the sword and says, Then at least give me the order. Order me to execute them. Or did you also forget how to do that? Do you wish to give up your authority as a leader? The crown prince said, Kill them. And Raviel Ivanzia immediately decapitates a servant. Kim Gongja thought to himself, This person will someday get in the path of Lady Goldenflower if I don't kill her right. A system notification pinged. Your current synchronization rate is 8%. Sylvia Avenay said, Ahahaha, you're getting more interesting. All right, let's become accomplices. And Heresy Inquisitor immediately ended a servant. As the crown prince watches like a pussy, Sylvia Avenay said, There, just one left now, and hands over the sword to the crown prince, the male protagonist. And she said, Your Highness, get rid of him. The crown prince tries to run away. Kim Gongja suddenly grabs him and says, If it weren't for your pathetic assassination attempt, this wouldn't have happened. The crown prince said, Ugh, a kidnapping driven by insane love might have happened, but you're also going to ignore your responsibilities now. Kim Gongja said, Take it. The crown prince, confused, said, What? Kim Gongja looks back and says, The blade. Take it. A system notification pinged. Your current synchronization rate is 9%. The crown prince said, You impertinent. How dare you? Kim Gongja said, I can see how long you must have avoided blame by placing it on others. Kim Gongja thought to himself, I don't care if my synchronization rate increases. I feel exactly the same as the butler does right now anyway. The rage over the cowardly escape. Kim Gongja said, I'm sure you left all of your dirty work for Lady Silverlily to do. As he remembered before saying to the people, Is this the time for you to be running? Kim Gongja said, You're supposed to be the royal prince of the empire. Bring down the blade. The crown prince said, Sylvia, please, stop your butler, as he strikes the servant and says, Wah, wah, ah. Raviel Ivanzia said, You have upheld the laws of the empire, your highness. Please harden your heart so that you may continue doing so. The crown prince drops the sword and runs away. Raviel Ivanzia said, The fate of the people in this empire lies in your hands, your highness. Kim Gongja thought to himself, while looking at the very beautiful lady of the silver lily Raviel Ivanzia, I want to understand this person. Raviel Ivanzia said, Please become strong. 3 days into the apocalypse, Lady Silverlily was a no-show at the academy today. The cult interrogator mentioned, I heard she's in bed feeling proper rough. She was always one to fall ill easy, and spending the night interrogating her servants must have taken its toll on her. 2 girls whispered in the background, one saying, They're a crazy master and servant duo, and the other adding, We should steer well clear of 'em. The cult interrogator turned to Kim Gongja, saying, The crown prince is also absent today, all thanks to you, butler. I suppose he must be quite shocked. He might even request a leave of absence at this rate. Kim Gongja was startled at being addressed as a butler by the cult interrogator instead of the death sovereign. Please, be careful, Kim Gongja replied. Oops, my mistake, the cult interrogator remarked. Now that my synchronization's past 20%, it's harder to control my words. This salty red tea is unexpectedly delightful. I'd like another cuppa, please, butler, the cult interrogator requested. You called me butler again, Kim Gongja remarked. Kim Gongja then began to make tea, Staten. The art of tea-making is quite intricate. Even the sight of tea pouring from the pot into the cup embodies a beautiful culture, fitting for our young miss. A system notification indicated that Kim Gongja was synced with the character. With his current synchronization at 10% shocked, Kim Gongja accidentally spilled tea on the cult interrogator. Why did you pour tea on me, butler? The cult interrogator exclaimed. That was hot. My delicate hair suffered a huge shock. That's not your usual reaction, Kim Gongja noted. Are you sure your heart hasn't already turned into a golden flower? Let me know when spring arrives. The cult interrogator grabbed Kim Gongja's hair, saying, Magnolias wither, and so does your hair, butler. As time passed, we saw Kim Gongja combing the cult interrogator's hair, noticing something. Kim Gongja noticed something in the cult interrogator's hair, wondering if it was an effect of the holy techniques, or perhaps a sign of growing resemblance to a lady golden flower. You seem to have a lot more expression now, Kim Gongja remarked. You used to smile, but it felt like you weren't really smiling. More like you were just smiling. Am I different now? The cult interrogator asked. Yes, Kim Gongja replied. Now when you smile, I feel like I understand why you're doing it, whether it's a genuine smile or something else. The cult interrogator pondered this. I see. I was self-aware of it as well. Death Sovereign, do you think this change is for the better? Kim Gongja, observing the cult interrogator's small stature, thought to himself about the many lives this seemingly small person might have taken. A first-generation hunter born in Europe, Bulgaria. His age and the number of lives taken remained unknown. I believe it is a positive influence, Kim Gongja answered. Honestly, I was unsure of what to do with you. What do you mean? The cult interrogator inquired. Because you are a crazed killer, on top of being a psychopath, Kim Gongja explained. But I couldn't just dispose of you abruptly. Even the Black Dragon Guild master, who despises you, and Sword St. Marcus Calenbury asked me to spare you. There must be a reason for you to remain alive. The cult interrogator laughed at this observation. That's some keen insight. Why do you kill people? Kim Gongja finally asked, a question he had pondered for a long time. Despite being a psychopath, you seem to understand people. You make an effort to comprehend others. So why do you resort to killing? The cult interrogator gazed at the sky before responding. Firstly, I must tell you that I am a highly skilled individual. He then activated his holy technique, stealth, demonstrating. With this, I can make any object in the world disappear. Naturally, I can also make weapons used for killing, even bodies, vanish. When those in power choose not to kill, it's not due to reluctance but the trouble of concealing the evidence. They fear discovery. However, such concerns do not apply to me. Kim Gongja listened intently as the cult interrogator revealed more about himself and his abilities. The cult interrogator continued, delving into the chaotic times of the first generation. The tower was truly chaotic then. It saw the revival of the slave system, racial discrimination, uneasy sentiments, terror attacks, shadowy forces, group slaughters, and conflicts of ideologies. It felt like the entire history of humanity was compressed into one, a taste melting in your mouth. If this continued, humanity would be destroyed. Small military cliques and the 5 major guilds of the time sensed the impending crisis, prompting 5 individuals to gather. Anastasia, the leader of the Black Dragon Guild, was the first to speak, cutting to the chase. Let's establish an eternal non-aggression pact. The Countess laid out her conditions. Promise me that my merchant troupe will have exclusive rights to trade goods in the outside world. The cult interrogator chimed in. It would be beneficial if each guild had a territory they could monopolize. That would be my condition for helping to cover up these incidents. Viper grumbled. I can't believe the craziest one here is also the most trustworthy. But why is this coffee so bitter? Who ordered this? Sword St. Marcus Callenbury then intervened, settling the conversation. I won't say do what must be done. Instead, I'll say do what you want. They all agreed, raising their weapons, declaring, "Tonight, we will execute people with our beliefs, judgments, and methods." On that first night, 4,653 people perished. The following night claimed 10,171 lives. Then, 8,275 lives were lost the night after that, followed by 7,412 the next, and 23,781 after that. Finally, no one died on the subsequent night, as Anastasia of the Black Dragon Guild sat among the fallen, weeping, her eyes meeting Sword St. Marcus Callenbury's. Sword St. Marcus Callenbury spoke solemnly. "I will take responsibility for this, and resign. We will never speak of this incident again." Agreeing, they all participated in the slaughter, fully aware it should not have happened. "I will despise all of you for the rest of my days, and most of all, I will despise myself," Sword St. Marcus Callenbury declared as he walked away, casting aside his helmet. The cult interrogator continued his story, reflecting on the vacant position of the vigilante guild leader that Sword St. Marcus Callenbury once held. Since that day, the position has remained empty. The Holy Knight took over, but she regretted it. I didn't regret it. Those sacrifices were necessary after all. But I wonder if these thoughts are due to the influence of becoming more synchronized with the Lady Golden Flower. "I'm having bizarre thoughts now," the cult interrogator confessed Kim Gongja, the Death Sovereign. "I think if you were there back then, things might have been different," he mused, staring up at the sky. "How do you all live with such emotions? The constant what-ifs that linger and haunt your thoughts. How do you endure it? Butler, this is no good. I'm starting to want to stay in this world." A system notification appeared above Kim Gongja's head, indicating synchronization with his character. He realized he probably wouldn't be able to bring himself to kill the cult interrogator, now that he saw regret in his actions. Calling out to the cult interrogator, Kim Gongja addressed her as "Young Miss," and mentioned the arrival of spring. She responded playfully, "Spring is good, Butler. Shall we go for a stroll?" Kim Gongja was shocked by the sudden change in tone, and the cult interrogator laughed heartily, teasing, "Death Sovereign, you look terrible." Grasping his head, Kim Gongja admonished, "You shouldn't joke about this." "I apologize," the cult interrogator said, now more mischievous with his newfound emotions. "I've become quite the prankster since feeling these emotions. My synchronization's gone up by 1% just from this conversation. It's now at 32%, and it might even surpass 50% by tomorrow. That's how addicted I've become to emotions. I am the protagonist of this apocalypse." Kim Gongja stands in front of Lavia Levanzia's office, knocking and thinking to himself that in the end, the culprit behind destroying this world is Lady Silver Lily. The key to clearing this apocalypse will be her. Kim Gongja then speaks to Lavia Levanzia, saying, "Please pardon me, Lady Golden Flower has sent her best regards to Lady Silver Lily." Kim Gongja thinks to himself about Lavia Levanzia's love, jealousy, and tolerance. As Lavia Levanzia goes through the paperwork and letters on her desk, Kim Gongja thinks about her arrogance and need for monopolization. He looks into her eyes and thinks to himself that we need to make use of all that in order to bring an end to this apocalypse. Lavia Levanzia then uses an hourglass and says to her staff that they'll take a 15-minute break, asking everyone to leave. Kim Gongja and Lavia Levanzia look at each other from a distance, and Kim Gongja moves closer to her, telling her, "I heard that you'd collapsed because you'd fallen ill, but you look healthy. I'm surprised." Lavia Levanzia replies, "I might not look like it, but I'm still a student. If I want to stay out of classes in order to do actual work, I'll need an appropriate excuse. But despite saying that, I'm nowhere near being healthy." She looks at a letter and adds, "Your actions have stood out in my eyes. You've discovered so quickly that spies have infiltrated the ranks of subordinates. I guess the actor that's been chosen this time is a clever one. What a blessing for the Empire. And if you weren't that clever, I wouldn't have even granted you an audience." Kim Gongja gets shocked and asks, "Pardon?" Lavial Evansia continues, "Just when I thought you were clever. I guess there are some parts of you that aren't that clever. It's my 14th round, and even so, it's only been a repeat of 10 days of my life. Meeting an actor like you makes it the 13th time for me." A system notification shows that the heart covered by silver is looking at you. Lavial Evansia asks, "How many rounds has it been for you?" Kim Gongja gets shocked, and Lavial Evansia tells him, "Your face tells me that this is your first time. Did the constellation that sent you here not give you any explanation?" How rare. The constellation would usually explain as much as possible to the apostle that they'll be sending before letting them start through. Kim Gongja asks, "The apostle?" Lavial Evansia says, "You really know nothing, huh?" She then opens her drawer and takes another hourglass. "Which constellation sent you? Mutia, Trigon Star, Hissomite, Crits, Nasaro, Fishmeh? Who are you a proxy of?" Kim Gongja replies, "The librarian in a corner sent me." Lavial Evansia says, "The librarian in a corner, Humustra?" Kim Gongja asks, "Humustra, is that his real name?" Lavial Evansia asks Kim Gongja, "Did Humustra not explain anything to you at all?" Kim Gongja thinks to himself that Lavial Evansia knows the real names of the constellations. Kim Gongja tells Lavial Evansia, "The librarian is trying his best not to get involved in the apocalypse. He already told us that he expects us to get information on our own instead of him giving it to us." Lavial Evansia says, "The apocalypse?" Kim Gongja explains, "A world whose barrier has fallen because they don't have a constellation. That's what the librarian calls worlds like that." Lavial Evansia asks, "Who is he to name other people's worlds? An apocalypse, huh? It's true that this world will eventually be destroyed, but I can't hand over my soul so simply to another." Lavial Evansia then says, "Wait, did you not possess the servant of Lady Golden Flower to come after my soul?" Kim Gongja gets shocked and shakes his head left and right, saying no to Lavial Evansia. Lavial Evansia becomes silent and looks at the hourglass as its time ends. She then grabs another hourglass. Lavial Evansia then says, "Look, butler of Lady Golden Flower." Kim Gongja says, "Please call me Kim Gongja. That's my real name." Lavial Evansia replies, "I don't want to. How dare you ask me to call you by your real name? Blame yourself for possessing the body of a butler and not a noble. In any case, I understand that your current state is like a blank piece of paper. You haven't received clearing guidelines at all." Kim Gongja asks, "What is a clearing guideline?" Lavial Evansia explains that it's something like this. Lavial Evansia is weak against sunlight. 2. Lavial Evansia has a dull sense of taste, so she likes food with deeper flavors. 3. Lavial Evansia likes white flowers, however, she's very sick of lilies because she's received too many of them. That's the clearing guidelines that the apostles who came here on my 6th regression brought with them. 4. Lavial Evansia is a pragmatist. She prefers to discuss topics such as politics, diplomacy, and money. Lavial Evansia says he was sent by a constellation known as Maho. Kim Gongja is shocked that the way to clear this world is all written. Lavial Evansia says, "It was so ridiculous that I took it from him after I read it. He was shouting when he was dying in my hands, and Mahos shouted, 'Why did it not work when I followed the guidelines to the dot?'" Lavial Evansia says, "It was as if he felt like he was wronged, but I'm the one who's been wronged. How could there be any guidelines when it comes to a person's heart?" A system notification shows that the heart covered by silver expresses her unhappiness. Lavial Evansia says, "You guys are looking down on what a heart is capable of. If you really wish to gain my heart, then you must approach it in an honest and straightforward manner. But yet you come with your clearing guidelines or route, all you servants that are rotten to the core." Kim Gongja then agrees, and Lavial Evansia puts her teacup down and says, "Looks like we're able to agree with each other. There's a reason why I think so highly of you. It's not just because you were clever, but because it felt like you see my world's people as humans. Kim Gongja replies, "Is that so? Isn't that natural?" Lavielle Evansia replies, "There are countless brutes that aren't even able to meet that very standard which should be natural. Beasts that don't see humans as humans, yet they dare think of themselves as humans. What a mess they are." Lavielle Evansia then thinks at her table and says, "Do these things mean anything to you?" Kim Gongja tries to look away. Lavielle Evansia asks, "Have you met with a lot of such people? It's happening again." Or, a system notification shows that the heart covered by silver is looking at you. Lavielle Evansia asks, "Have you also seen someone else in that manner as well?" Kim Gongja thinks to himself that it's as if Lavielle Evansia can see through his actual heart. Lavielle Evansia asks, "Or maybe someone who is important to you has said similar things?" Kim Gongja replies, "Even though you say that, didn't you think lowly of me just because I possessed a butler's body and not a noble's body?" Kim Gongja thinks to himself that he can't let her be in control of the conversation anymore. Lavielle Evansia replies, "Are you that upset that I refuse to call you by your real name?" Kim Gongja replies, "I'm just saying that you ought to get off your high horse while saying those things." Lavielle Evansia replies, "Get off my high horse. These are indeed words that sound like they would come from a bad butler. However, I can agree with what you said, so let's go back to the real topic. I understand that you're not after my soul. In that case, what do you want for you to cross over to this world? This is a world that repeats 10 days eternally. A system notification shows that the heart covered by silver has suspicions of your true intention." Lavielle Evansia says, "I doubt you were banished here because your constellation hates you. I heard Humustra is a moderate, but despite saying that, I doubt you're here for a break or enjoyment. Actor, who is acting as the butler of Lady Silverlily, answer me this. I won't take any lies. The moment you try to lie, it'll become impossible for you to get anything from me to accomplish your objective." Kim Gongja stands silent. Lavielle Evansia says, "I don't reveal my heart to anyone who doesn't reveal theirs first." Kim Gongja asks himself, "Why did I come to this world? Because we need to take over this world as the 25th floor of our tower." Kim Gongja remembers what the Black Dragon Guild leader Anastasia said. "There's a reason I recommend this apocalypse to be the 25th floor. Firstly, it's very developed in magic and alchemy. That means it's rich with resources." Kim Gongja thinks to himself, "No, we'd be fine, even if we chose another apocalypse, because a fragment of my holy sword is here." The Black Dragon Guild leader Anastasia said before that, since it's a fantasy world, you might be able to obtain a new skill. There could be a really nice artifact too. Kim Gongja thinks to himself that although he does become stronger by looking for the Sisters of Sparkly since he's her owner, he only becomes a little stronger. He remembers that the Black Dragon Guild leader Anastasia said, "Just so you know, there's a subgenre for this apocalypse. It's romance." Kim Gongja remembers what the Sword Emperor said, that Kim Gongja still hasn't experienced enough of the happiness of the world. And isn't that funny? He's never dated anyone before. Kim Gongja says, "I still don't know what love is, emotions of one that is in love. I'm still ignorant about those things. You might not know this, but this world's genre has romance. I think it's perfect for learning about love. I want to learn about the things that I lack in. I can't stand having to live life without knowing it. I won't feel like I've fully lived my life without it." Lavielle Evansia replies, "So you want to learn about love? From me? I'm not sure about that." Kim Gongja says, "More accurately, I want to learn about love from this world. I want to know where I'm lacking. I want to experience it." Lavielle Evansia asks, "Why have you come looking for me then? Wouldn't it be faster for you to learn it from Lady Golden Flower?" Kim Gongja replies, "That won't work. She's even worse at this than me. If I want to learn something, I ought to learn it from someone who knows it better." As Lavielle Evansia sips her cup of cold tea, Lavielle Evansia replies, "I guess you're right. Lady Goldenflower is in a position where she needs to be taught love in this round, but I still don't see why you've come to look for me. And we see the time is almost up. Kim Gongja then says, "There is a reason. I wish to understand you. Even though I don't know if I should be on the Crown Prince's side or the Empire's side, you have offered and sworn your life to them. I wish to understand how you're able to act like this. If that's because of love, then I would like to also experience that kind of emotion like you do." Lavielle Ivanzia's eyes suddenly go wide open in shock as she hears Kim Gongja's words. Kim Gongja says, "It's a little embarrassing for me, but this is my honest answer." Lavielle Ivanzia replies in shock, "I have never been in a situation like this, to want to learn about love. That only shows me just how fearless you are. So you want to understand me. You must not speak of understanding easily. That's a word that could harm someone because understanding and being responsible aren't necessarily different." Kim Gongja shouts up, calling for the librarian Humustra. He says, "Please stop the broadcast for a while. I've got something that I would like to tell just Lady Silver Lily." A system notification shows and says, "The librarian in a corner has agreed to your request. You have been given 10 minutes of scene skip." Kim Gongja then looks at Lavielle Ivanzia happily and says to her, "I am also a regressor, but my regression is a little different from yours." He steps closer to Lavielle Ivanzia and continues, "You said you're repeating the last 10 days of your life, right? I return to the day before I die. It doesn't just proceed normally either. If someone kills me, then I'll be able to view the trauma of that person." Lavielle Ivanzia says, "Their trauma?" Kim Gongja says, "I can view their memories, the scenes of their lives, and even the deepest wound of someone's heart. If it's a wound caused by the destruction of something precious, I can also see the memories of that." Kim Gongja thinks to himself, "I guess I've been wanting to tell someone about my own story." Kim Gongja tells Lavielle Ivanzia, "That's why I can understand others a little easier." Kim Gongja thinks to himself, "To someone who is in the same situation as me, to someone who lived a similar life as me." Kim Gongja says to Lavielle Ivanzia, "It's a type of skill or technique. I do fear that I could get too used to easily understanding others. One of the most important people in my life told me this: never get too used to your skill. But if I'm the only one that understands others," Lavielle Ivanzia replies, "that won't really be understanding." Kim Gongja replies, "But still, I can't just leave people in the lurch because..." Lavielle Ivanzia replies, "Even if it might seem like hypocrisy, I would like other people to know that I'm here and that I'm protecting this place because of them. To be able to live that kind of life is such a blessing. Don't you agree?" Kim Gongja agrees. Lavielle Ivanzia says, "While understanding might take only an instant, taking responsibility lasts for eternity. You volunteered to enter into hell, huh?" A system notification shows that the librarian in a corner informs you that the scene skip skill is over. Lavielle Ivanzia then looks at the hourglasses and takes one, telling Kim Gongja, "All right, servant of Lady Goldenflower, I will teach you about love." Lavielle Ivanzia says, "I will teach you about love, but for 1 week starting from today, until the time before the world comes to an end, you must become my exclusive servant and not Lady Goldenflower's." Kim Gongja says, "Exclusive servant?" Lavielle Ivanzia replies, "Yes, I have only known how to love myself. I have never taught others about love before. The only way for me to teach you would be to show it to you directly." Lavielle Ivanzia looks at an hourglass and adds, "So you will have to stay by my side to watch and learn, won't you?" Kim Gongja is silently thinking. Lavielle Ivanzia says, "Come to think of it, this seems to be a losing deal for me. I'll be showing you all the aspects of my embarrassing private life after all. Extend your thanks to the luck of your past, present, and future life." Kim Gongja thinks of her as a haughty noble. In another scene, Kim Gongja looks outside the estate of Lavielle Ivanzia and proceeds to enter. Inside, he says, Please excuse me while the servants prepare. Laviolivancia says to him, You are here. She then asks a servant to show it to him, and the servant says, As you wish, my lady, and opens a blackboard. Kim Gongja then sees what is on the board. It's written there, Lesson 1 Basic. Love starts at the place where you experience a mean bitch. Kim Gongja thinks, I thought about this last night. Laviolivancia then says, What kind of methods should I use to teach about love? Since I don't have the time to only be paying attention to you, I won't be able to help you find your first love. Isn't that right? Laviolivancia then points at Kim Gongja, saying, So I intend to slowly teach you things about love that you must know about. Repeat after me. Love starts at the place where you experience a mean bitch. Kim Gongja repeats. Laviolivancia tells him, Yes, a mean bitch. It could also be mean bitches. She covers her face with her fan seductively and explains, Somewhere out there exists first love that would be perfect right from the first meet. To be able to care and compromise for the other person right from the start to become a lifelong partner. But that is not your situation. Kim Gongja then gets shocked. Laviolivancia continues, There's a 99% chance that the woman you will meet is a mean person. Even if she's not a mean person right now, she will become one soon. It's because it's impossible for any human to be nice all the time with that exact value. Laviolivancia then instructs the servant to spin the board, and on the board is written, Lesson 1 Advance, you are also a mean bastard. Laviolivancia explains, but don't be too offended by that. Humans are animals that learn from experience. The one who has suffered at the hands of a mean person, and the one who is going to become the mean person, can stop themselves from repeating the same mistakes. They just need to learn what kind of person is a mean person, and what they need to do to not become a mean person. Kim Gongja replies in frustration, Can't it just be all good from the start? Laviolivancia says, Butler, don't have any expectations for humans. Humans will forget what they have said before. They would resolve their hearts and then give up. Forgetting and giving up, these are the two basic iron rules of dating. Kim Gongja just thinks silently. Laviolivancia says, And if you really want to love someone, then you must also learn how to remember and resolve yourself. Kim Gongja replies, I must also learn those too. Laviolivancia replies, You really are a child. To see is to believe. I will just show it to you. Laviolivancia stands from her chair. Kim Gongja asks, You will show it to me. How? Can't you tell even after seeing it? Laviolivancia then gets closer to Kim Gongja, holds his shoulder and says, I am the one who loves the world's meanest person. She then says, Let's go. Kim Gongja feels the warm, caring hands of Laviolivancia on his shoulder, and he then looks back at Laviolivancia and says, Wait for me. Outside, Kim Gongja and Laviolivancia walk together side by side, Laviolivancia showing off her pearly white legs while they walk. A servant then tells Laviolivancia, Laviolivancia, did you hear? And she replies that she did. Laviolivancia asks, Is His Highness awake? A ruler ought to wake up earlier than his people. Laviolivancia says, He is probably still asleep. Open the door. The servants then say, Forgive me, but we have strict orders from His Highness. And they both bow towards Laviolivancia. Laviolivancia gets close to the servant and whispers to him, saying, I know he probably told you not to let me in no matter what if I ever visited, but the Emperor is worried about the Crown Prince and thus has ordered me to do this. Let me ask you, are you a servant of the Crown Prince or the Emperor? Think about it. The servant sweats and gets terrified. Laviolivancia and Kim Gongja are then let inside the room. Laviolivancia knocks on the door and says, Your Highness, are you awake? He then replies, Don't come in. Laviolivancia takes out her golden key and says, You are up. Then I'm going to come in. Kim Gongja thinks in shock Laviolivancia is allowed to do this. Inside, the Crown Prince gets startled in bed. Laviolivancia tells him, The sun has already risen, and yet you are still in bed. Do you think it's okay for you to live such a nonchalant life as the person who will be succeeding the ruler of this country? The Crown Prince shouts to close the door and asks if anyone is out there, and someone please help him. Lavia Levansia calls for her butler and says to Kim Gongja, "I will teach you the second lesson." The butler opens the blackboard, and the second basic lesson: if you can't avoid meeting a mean person, learn to enjoy it. Kim Gongja asks, "How to enjoy it?" Lavia Levansia replies, "You will probably love someone eventually, and you will meet a mean person as your first love. If that is going to happen, you might as well learn to enjoy it." She snaps her fingers, and the butler shows the second lesson advanced. You must become a meaner person than the one you will meet. Suddenly, two servants with buckets of ice-cold water throw water at the Crown Prince in bed. Lavia Levansia says, "Dating a mean person is basically war. Peace would be the best situation. If the person you meet is friendly, then you ought to behave in the same way. But if that person turns out to be unavoidably mean, then bear this in mind." She showed off her beautiful fan, inside of which was written today's slogan. "Don't be nice to a mean person." She instructed Kim Gongja to repeat after her, and he complied. Lavia Levansia continued, "Humans want to be seen as cool, smart, or nice to others. From what I see, you belong to that last category. Refrain from doing that." With a snap, she closed her fan. She then instructed the servants to open the door and walked outside. Lavia Levansia told the servants at the door that the Crown Prince was wet, despite it already being spring, and she was worried for his health. She commanded them to attend to him immediately. The shocked servants shouted, "Your Highness!" Lavia Levansia told Kim Gongja, "Burn this into your mind. This is the formula for dating. The good-looking one will lose to the smart one, and the smart one will lose to the prick. So the one who has reached the peak of love is a beautiful person who is smart but a bad person. Bear that in mind." Kim Gongja nodded in understanding as he watched the servants dry the Crown Prince in bed. Kim Gongja then expressed to the Crown Prince that this was very different from the love he had imagined and was expecting something more romantic. Lavia Levansia replied, "Yes, and you must think that love is done with the heart and not the mind. That is correct too. But this would depend on your luck. It is not easy meeting someone who would cause your heart to race at first sight. Depending on the type of life you have lived, it will also affect what kind of person will cause your heart to race." A servant then offered to bring them to the reception room. Kim Gongja thought that this felt more like Lavia Levansia's residence than the Crown Prince's. Lavia Levansia said, "To fall in love at first sight means you are able to see how that person has lived their life so far." Kim Gongja remarked that it sounded complicated. Lavia Levansia agreed, "It is." She sat on a chair and added, "Since it's pretty complicated, would you like to test something out?" She then looked at Kim Gongja seductively and said, "Try and see if you can make my heart race." Kim Gongja asked, "How do I do that?" Lavia Levansia replied, "You just need to do something praiseworthy." Kim Gongja inquired, "And what would that be?" Lavia Levansia teased, "Must I tell you that as well? You might as well just ask me to find our lover right away instead. I want you to think about it and show me your answer. You are clever, so you might actually succeed." Kim Gongja then took something from his coat, 3 cards, and declared, "These are the cards that the librarian in a corner, Hamustra, gave me. Based on what you have said, these are kind of guidelines." He then destroyed the cards in front of Lavia Levansia. Kim Gongja thinks to himself that maybe these cards could really be of great help in clearing this stage, but his shortcut to clearing this stage would be to show her his sincerity. Lavia Levansia looks at the fragments of the cards and is shocked. Suddenly, she smiles and asks Kim Gongja to come closer. He approaches her, and she tells him, "You are way too tall, come closer," as she grabs a bottle from her side. Lavia Levansia then whispers to Kim Gongja while touching his neck slowly, "I will tell you this in advance. I won't take responsibility for you." Kim Gongja smells a scent of white lily, and Lavia Levansia asks, "Does it smell good?" She continues to touch Kim Gongja's ears gently. Kim Gongja responds with a yes, and their hands interlock. Lavielivanzia then asks, "Do you like it?" To which Kim Gongja replies affirmatively. She gets closer to him, telling him that she likes it too, revealing that it's her favorite and most cherished scent. "It doesn't feel bad for me to reveal who I am to you," she says, and Kim Gongja feels a drop of sweat roll down his chin. The clock ticks, and she tells him to continue on this journey with her as she releases her hands. She then says seductively to Kim Gongja, "I will tell you a secret tonight." Kim Gongja realizes to himself that he is in trouble. A system notification shows at his back that he is Sinsen with the character. He thinks to himself that he might have fallen in love with Lavielivanzia. Outside, Kim Gongja rests in the grass, gazing up at the sky. The Sword Emperor, Bae-Huryong, calls him zombie multiple times, but Kim Gongja remains unmoved. "Oi, zombie Kim!" calls the Sword Emperor again, followed by Slit Eyes Kim. "You cult leader." In Kim Gongja's mind, thoughts of Lavielivanzia linger. Suddenly, the cult interrogator addresses Kim Gongja as Death Sovereign, asking if he can hear him. Lying on the grass, Kim Gongja murmurs, "What is love?" The Sword Emperor, Bae-Huryong, remarks that Kim Gongja is a lost cause, blaming himself for Kim Gongja falling for someone out of his league. He then casually picks his nose. Suddenly, Kim Gongja recalls something and mentions suicide. This shocks the Sword Emperor, who questions Kim Gongja's sanity. Kim Gongja explains that if he were to do that, he might get to experience the situation earlier again. Sparkly then jumps up and strikes Kim Gongja's head, causing him to wince. "I know I am out of my mind here, but what can I do when she is all I think about?" Kim Gongja laments. The Sword Emperor, Bae-Huryong, remarks that Kim Gongja must be seriously out of his mind to say such things. Kim Gongja defiantly declares, "I will not wash my face today. Even if I do, I must not wash my ears. Don't you think you can still smell the scent of lilies? Want to try sniffing my ears?" The Sword Emperor dismisses Kim Gongja's comments as another round of nonsense. Kim Gongja then reflects on the ramen-haired crown prince and questions how many times he saved the world in his previous life to deserve Lavielivanzia's love. He expresses his desire to respond to every eye-catching comment on the internet, saying, "I want to be like the crown prince." The Sword Emperor, Bae-Huryong, shakes his head at Kim Gongja's words, muttering about the world shifting if Kim Gongja learns to love someone. He expresses regret at giving Kim Gongja advice on love. Kim Gongja points out his synchronization at 21% and mentions that even the butler, the original owner of his body, is becoming more synchronized. He speculates that the butler has also fallen in love with Lavielivanzia. The Sword Emperor, Bae-Huryong, questions if the butler didn't like Lady Goldenflower instead. Kim Gongja asserts, "You know nothing. Love isn't cast in stone. Love is love." The Sword Emperor, disappointed, reminds Kim Gongja that he only learned about love half a day ago. Kim Gongja looks up at the sky, pondering how he can save Lavielivanzia and make her happy. Disheartened, the Sword Emperor tells Kim Gongja to start by getting to know her more. He advises, "When dating, you constantly need to make yourself seen by her. But you are her exclusive servant now, right? You have the geographical advantage, since you are always by her side." Kim Gongja gazes at the flying bird, pondering the concept of a geographical advantage in a world that is coming to an end. Sword Emperor Bae-Huryong thinks to himself that this is a big problem, and Kim Gongja looks over at him. Kim Gongja hears a bell and realizes that the lesson is over. He needs to pick up the cult interrogator. Cult interrogator, he corrects himself. In the middle of the night, Lavielivanzia tells Kim Gongja that he can't just think of this as a reward for doing something praiseworthy. Holding a lamp as they walk down the hallway, she adds, "I will tell you my secret. Follow me." Kim Gongja sweats nervously in his gloves as they continue. Lavielivanzia asks Kim Gongja what he's thinking about, and Kim Gongja responds with a "Pardon." She reminds him that he is her exclusive servant, at least for now, and demands an answer. Flustered, Kim Gongja admits, "I was thinking of holding your hand." Shocked at his own words, he internally berates himself. What did I just say? Suddenly, Levansia gets close and takes his hand. Kim Gongja calls out her name, and she asks him if he thought about her all day, pressing her chest against him. She then questions if he missed her touch and smell, and if he imagined them. Kim Gongja is speechless, and Levansia insists, "Answer me. If you aren't honest, I will let go of your hands." Nervously, Kim Gongja confesses, "I did all of that." Levansia demands he say it properly, and Kim Gongja, sweating profusely, stammers, "You are the only one I thought about all day today." Levansia praises him with a good job, and a system notification shows that Kim Gongja is sincere with his character, with a current synchronization rate of 29%. Kim Gongja, feeling overwhelmed, tells himself that he doesn't know what's happening anymore and doesn't know what to do. He then tells Levansia, "We must not do this," while she plays with his bow tie. Curious, she asks him, "What is this?" Thinking quickly, Kim Gongja tries to explain, "I am someone who came from outside of this world. I am just borrowing the body of this butler." Levansia replies, "So, didn't you say you saw me as a human?" A system notification shows a heart covered with silver looking at Kim Gongja. Continuing, Levansia says, "I guess you are like the rest of the apostles and see me as only a native of this world. No, I guess in the words of Hermustra, who sent you here, I am a character." Kim Gongja looks like he's about to explode with the weight of the situation. He blurts out, "My original master is Lady Golden Flower, so I must attend to Lady Silver Lily for my mission." Levansia then leans in closer to Kim Gongja and remarks, "What strange words. You just told me you only thought of me all day. That means you didn't think about her, right?" She then releases Kim Gongja's bow tie. A system notification shows the heart covered with silver, looking at Kim Gongja. Levansia asks, "Was that a lie?" Kim Gongja, his eyes fixed on Levansia with a hint of pink in his cheeks, replies, "No, I didn't lie." Then Levansia leans in close, whispering into Kim Gongja's ear, "Call me your master. Just once will do. I want you to be sincere when you do it. If you do, I promise to give you a sweet reward." Just as Kim Gongja is about to comply, the Sword Emperor Bai Huryong calls out, "Gongja!" A system notification shows sparkly trembling to help bring Kim Gongja back to his senses. Levansia asks, "What's wrong? Don't you want your reward? Just do it once." Kim Gongja contemplates and thinks to himself, "Just once? Wouldn't it be okay if it's just once? Even if something goes wrong, I can just turn back time. Maybe this is something I must do in order to get important information to clear this world. So even if I say it just once." A flashback is shown, where the Flame Emperor talks to Kim Gongja, saying, "You do know that I am the Flame Emperor, right? You should die then." In another scene, the apothecary hugs Kim Gongja and says, "Death Sovereign, I trust you." In yet another scene, the Demon Lord Preetor kneels before Kim Gongja and says, "My lord." And in yet another scene, Kim Gongja's master says to him as she dies, "My disciple." Kim Gongja then tells himself, "Am I someone who would submit to others so easily?" He then grabs Levansia's shoulder. He asks himself, "Did the burden on my shoulders get that much lighter? No, I am the lord of the hungry demon, the young cult leader of the demonic cult." Kim Gongja then holds Levansia's hands and says, "I am sorry, Levansia. I can't acknowledge you as my true master." He then adjusts his bow tie, thinking to himself that he did everything up until now so he wouldn't become like Yu Suha. That's why he ran through the snowfields with the alchemist Castellan, so that there would be no deaths. Kim Gongja tells Levansia, "I want to learn the happiness of love, but I don't want to learn it at the cost of losing myself. If you really want to obtain my heart, then you have to go about it in a different way. I will take you as my master, so I want you to take me as your master as well. Your decision will take a high priority in my life, and I will take your advice even more seriously than my own beliefs. I won't put myself as the top priority of my life, But for me to do that, I want you to do the same for me. If I give you my heart, how will I continue to breathe? You need to give me your heart so that I can continue to live. If you want to see me go crazy over you, you will have to do the same for me. Lavielle Evansia then takes her hands off Kim Gongja and drops the lantern. She says, "You really are different from the other stupid apostles. I thought you were just a naive kid, but while you were new to love, you had lots of life experiences. Looks like I rushed into things." Kim Gongja replies, "You seduced me into becoming your servant, right?" He picks up the lantern and adds, "You said that understanding and being responsible aren't necessarily different, right? A single-sided sense of responsibility is just a single-sided understanding." He gives back the lantern to Lavielle Evansia and tells her, "That is not why I approached you. So, what is the secret that you wanted to tell me?" Lavielle Evansia replies and walks away. "There is a treasure in my family that has been passed down for many generations. It's a sword that has the word legendary in its name, which makes it sound like a joke. It is said to grant you a wish if you pray to it, but there is a condition." Lavielle Evansia and Kim Gongja look at a big object covered in red cloth. Lavielle Evansia removes the cover, revealing a mirror with a sword emitting a red aura. A system notification shows that Sparkly detects her sister's energy. Lavielle Evansia said, "This is a sword that grants wishes, a treasure in my family that has been passed down for many generations. But there is a condition. When making a wish, the sword must be used to pierce the user's own heart." A system notification shows that Sparkly detects her sister's energy. Another notification follows, indicating that Sparkly says it is the third sister sword of the Holy Sword of the Protector Prayer. Lavielle Evansia touches the sword and says, "It was before I became a regressor. When the Crown Prince got together with Lady Golden Flower, I got so angry that I made a wish to this sword." She explains that she asked the sword to grant her eternal love, pleading with it as she held onto the sword and stabbed her heart in the mirror. That's how Lavielle Evansia's life became an eternal love. She continues, "Even if I die, I don't truly die, and my feelings towards the Crown Prince don't change either. After that day, my heart became eternal and the same." Lavielle Evansia then takes Kim Gongja's hand and places it on her left chest. Kim Gongja is shocked to realize he can't feel any heartbeat. Lavielle Evansia asks Kim Gongja, "Did you say you wanted my heart? Sorry, but I don't have a heart to give to you." A system notification shows the heart that is covered with silver is looking at you. Lavielle Evansia tells Kim Gongja to help her, saying it's time to finish what they are doing today. The clock strikes midnight, and a red liquid begins to flow towards Kim Gongja and Lavielle Evansia. Lavielle Evansia magically holds onto her sword, and Kim Gongja asks, "What is this?" as he grabs onto her. She replies, "This is my nightmare. Butler, don't let your guard down. From this moment on, this world has basically become another world. It is completely cut off from the outside." A system notification shows the heart that is covered with silver has manifested. The red goo speaks. "Crown Prince, you are so hateful. Before you became the Crown Prince, you would pick flowers for me, wipe my tears with your sleeve, but you are still a good person with a delicate heart. What meaning could there be to love someone who has been great since birth?" Lavielle Evansia then stabs one of the talking lips, and it continues, "While you are hateful, to be able to lead someone like you is true love. I love your highness. I am a noble that knows how to love as well." While Kim Gongja and Lavielle Evansia slash the talking lips, the red goo continues speaking. It mentions how Lady Golden Flower was seducing the Crown Prince, which Kim Gongja finds revolting. He feels a familiar sensation, similar to before fighting the Demon King of Autumn Rain. A system notification shows the existence of the heart covered with silver has become even clearer. Kim Gongja recognizes this as the power of a constellation. The red goo shows a scene where the Crown Prince said to Lavielle Evansia, "Lavielle, your family and the imperial family made us fiancés, but I don't care if this is an engagement that the adults decide by themselves. I am here today to officially ask for your hand. Lavielle, will you marry me when we grow up a little more?" Lavielle Evansia replies, "Yes, my prince," and the crown prince says, "You will be the only one I love," to which she responds, "I will only love you as well, my prince." La Vieille Evancia curses, expressing her frustration with the crown prince for shirking his responsibilities after making such promises. The red goo dismisses this, saying it can't be helped since it was a promise made when they were young, as humans are forgetful creatures. Kim Gongja charges up his sword and uses the demonic heaven divine art, 8th form, sword of immolation, instantly obliterating the red goo. The sword emperor Bai Huryang comments, "Ho, guess he is able to take out small fries like this in one hit now, huh? He has grown so much." Kim Gongja then asks La Vieille Evancia since when she became a constellation. He also mentions the familiar spirits of the constellation, asking if she was the one who created them. La Vieille Evancia explains that it happened the moment she stabbed her own heart. This indicates that the world didn't have a constellation from the start. She mentions it's hard to tell if it did exist, but got killed, or if it didn't exist at all. Sword Emperor Bai Huryang adds that it looks like the constellation killer killed the original constellation that lived in this world. Kim Gongja reflects to himself that the demons are getting stronger each passing day, not only growing in number and size, but also becoming more powerful. La Vieille Evancia continues saying, "And when it reaches the 10th day in this world, in any case, when the 10th day started repeating itself, I became the representative of this world. Even though I didn't want it, the hands of the time of this world started to revolve with me as the center." Sword Emperor Bai Huryang explained that becoming a god in this way wasn't the typical path, as in the Murim sense. She would have become a god akin to any unorthodox faction. Even though the sword she used was just a fragment, it was still the goddess of protection, a holy relic. If someone used that to stab their own heart, they would become a constellation even if they didn't intend to. What's more, it transformed her body into one that could withstand the causality of time constantly repeating. That's not something a human body can naturally achieve. While she isn't a full-fledged constellation, it's still the result of multiple situations falling together perfectly. Kim Gongja pondered that one could become a constellation even if they didn't want to, and he sheathed his sword. La Vieille Evancia asked, "How strange, are you not disappointed?" Kim Gongja replied with a puzzled, "Pardon?" La Vieille Evancia continued, "What you said was right. No matter what state my heart is in, those demons are my familiar spirits. All those things that I mumble even in my dreams, I swore to have an eternally unchanging love. In order to maintain that love, I must remove any dirt or flaws from my love every single day." Holding the mirror, she added, "Disappointment, frustration, a compensation mentality. Those demons you saw are the results of that. Isn't it hideous? Though I have taught you about love, I am going to have to take back my love now. I intentionally brought you here to break you out of your illusion." Kim Gongja drew close to La Vieille Evancia and said, "Disappointment? You asked me if this was hideous. This isn't enough to make me feel disappointed in you," he continued, looking at the sword. "You just told me your secret. A truly hideous person would never show their heart to others." La Vieille Evancia rushed towards Kim Gongja, responding, "You have only loved me for a day. Your words are full of cajolery. Is it a problem if it's only been a day?" Kim Gongja challenged, "Will it be okay if I love you for a year or 1,000 years then?" La Vieille Evancia's face registered shock as they moved closer to each other. Kim Gongja pressed on, "Can I come back after that happens?" Kim Gongja thought to himself, "I became certain at this moment, even while the butler is sharing his heart out right now." Speaking aloud, Kim Gongja said, "In my eyes, I can see what kind of human you loathe and despise. I know what hurts you or causes you pain. You are probably the same as me, and I love you because that's how you have lived your life, because I am also living the same kind of life." Thinking to himself, Kim Gongja realized, those words coming out of my mouth are actually my own feelings. Whispering into La Vieille Evancia's ears, Kim Gongja said, "Just like how I love myself, I love you. I hope you will love me as much as I love you. I will definitely make you fall in love with me." I don't care if your heart is being held captive in this world or not. That also applies to your memories with the Crown Prince when you were young. We are both regressors, the only two in this world. The two of us have a ton of time that only we can enjoy. I will present to you so much time that you might feel suffocated. I will try my best. La Ville Evansia replied. Are you intending to keep repeating the last days of this world infinitely? You will get sick of it. Kim Gongja replied confidently. There is no use trying to scare me. It's not my first time living through the exact same days repeatedly. Curious, La Ville Evansia asked. What if I get sick of you and ask you to get lost? Kim Gongja replied with determination. I will get lost. But that wouldn't happen at all to begin with, as he held La Ville Evansia's hands. I should be saying that this is too much effort, but it's not the case with you, La Ville Evansia remarked. Suddenly 3 servants rushed towards them, and one of them said to La Ville Evansia, I am sorry, my lady. Kim Gongja's face showed shock as the servant continued. Forgive me, but Lady Golden Flower is causing a ruckus right now. Kim Gongja couldn't help but wonder, what is with all the commotion at such a late time? Outside, the moon's casting a pink glow as the cult interrogator yells for his butler, shouting, Butler! Where are you, butler? She cried. Kim Gongja rushes towards the cult interrogator, who exclaims, Lady Golden Flower, you can't be acting like this here. In a flashback, Kim Gongja speaks to the cult interrogator, who says, I'll be working as La Ville Evansia's exclusive butler for the time being, in order to gather info on her and clear this stage. The cult interrogator then nods. All right, it can't be helped since this is for the mission. I'm all right with it. Do what you need to do, Death Sovereign. Back in the present, the cult interrogator shouts, Bring my butler here at once. Butler, I know you're in there. La Ville Evansia, said the uninvited guest whom I least wished to see. The cult interrogator then spots Kim Gongja and says, There you are. She then rushes towards Kim Gongja, expressing concern. I was worried about you since you hadn't returned even though it's so late. You're not just my butler but also my childhood friend. That means you mean more to me than just a butler. Would it be unsightly of me to ask you to recognize that? In any case, you must not stay in such a place. I think the flowers in this garden are all poisonous. All right, butler, come back home with me now. Before the cult interrogator's hand gets close to Kim Gongja, La Ville Evansia slaps it away, saying, Impudent brat, she adds. You're already committing a severe offence that warrants the death penalty just for causing a commotion here late at night. This isn't the type of place where you can cause a ruckus. The cult interrogator notices that La Ville Evansia is wearing Kim Gongja's coat and shoes, and her eyes turn malicious. La Ville Evansia demands, Kneel down and ask me for forgiveness immediately. The cult interrogator retorts, Oh, are you going to flog me with whips? If you're going to do that, then make sure to do it properly. I'm curious as to how the Crown Prince will react when I show him the marks left behind on my calves. We'll then have another memory together. The servants are shocked, and one of them exclaims, How revolting. La Ville Evansia responds, Really? Let's do that then. I like how you're trying to make more memories in your school days. I will help you achieve that as a noble of our empire. Bring me the whip. The servants nervously reply to La Ville Evansia, Young Duchess. La Ville Evansia corrects the servant. I already told you not to call me that in the academy. The servant hesitantly says, But if the Crown Prince finds out about this? La Ville Evansia interrupts. My left hand still has nothing in it. The servants then rush to get the whip. Kim Gongja speaks to the cult interrogator, asking, My lady, what is this? What are you doing here this late at night? The cult interrogator replies, I'm here to take back what belongs to me. Isn't that obvious? I've been waiting for you since this morning, but you never came back. At first, I thought you had something urgent to tend to, but I heard rumors that you were acting as La Ville Evansia's butler. She got a hold of your weakness and threatened you with it, didn't she? Don't worry, I won't let her take anything away from me anymore, including the Crown Prince's love and your loyalty to me. Kim Gongja is shocked at what the cult interrogator is saying and asks their secret sentence. When spring comes, The cult interrogator replies, "Pardon, what are you talking about?" Kim Gongja becomes shocked as the cult interrogator can't remember their secret password. The servant then gives the stick to Lavia Levansia, and she calls the cult interrogator by her real name. "Sylvia Agony," she accuses. "You caused a commotion and infringed upon the territory of a duke for private matters, and you weren't apologetic at all." Lavia Levansia swings the stick, saying, "If you behave impertinently, I will punish you by the orders of the emperor." Sylvia Agony replies, "Apologetic? I know better than anyone else what I did wrong. My crime was receiving the great love of the crown prince, even though I'm just a daughter of a baron family from the countryside. I'm sorry for accepting this love. Sorry for being loved more than you." She then says the real name of Lavia Levansia. "Lavia Levansia? Is that enough of an apology?" From a distance, the crown prince shouts while holding a torch, calling for Sylvia Agony. He then hugs her and asks, "Are you all right? Are you injured anywhere?" He looks at Lavia Levansia and accuses, "You vicious woman. How could you treat Sylvia Agony so harshly?" Lavia Levansia coughs and says to the crown prince, "Your Highness, this is the law of our empire." The crown prince retorts, "How can the law be more important than a human? Your lips speak of the empire all the time, but what have you actually done in your devotion to the empire? All you do is constantly bully Sylvia Agony, don't you? That's why you are a vicious woman, you witch." Feeling sad, Lavia Levansia asks the crown prince, "Are you going to get rid of me?" The crown prince then looks at her and tells Sylvia Agony, "Let's go," as he walks away. He says to Sylvia Agony, "You must not stay in a place like this." Sylvia Agony then calls for her butler, "Come along as well." Kim Gongja bows and asks for his status window. He then looks at the status window of the cult interrogator and reads all her likes and dislikes. He sees her thoughts saying, "Lavia Levansia, I won't let you have anything feeling betrayed." Kim Gongja remembers his last moments with the real cult interrogator. Sylvia Agony then calls for Kim Gongja, saying, "You are coming with me, right?" In a flashback, the cult interrogator calls for Kim Gongja, saying, "Death Sovereign." And now she calls him butler. "You are coming along, aren't you?" Kim Gongja replies, "I'm thinking of staying by Lavia Levansia's side for the time being." Sylvia Agony responds, "Do you really understand the situation right now? I don't enjoy showing off my wounds, but I have suffered humiliation just so I can release you from her grasp." Kim Gongja acknowledges, "Yes, I'm aware of that." Sylvia Agony continues, "Yet you still reject my hand despite knowing that. A system notification shows you are sincere with your character." Kim Gongja replies, "I still have unfinished business here." Another system notification shows you are sincere with your character. Sylvia Agony responds, "What a convenient sentence. Are you sure it's not because you've been bewitched by her?" She then realizes, "Ha! All right then. I don't know what other scheme you're up to, but you won't be able to cause my relationship with my butler to waver." Lavia Levansia asserts, "It's your right to be under the wrong idea. Get out of my sight now." Sylvia Agony asks the crown prince, "Your Highness, you are coming with me, right?" The servants call for their Highness and Lady Golden Flower, Kim Gongja. Kim Gongja and Lavia Levansia look at him as they leave. When they're left alone outside, Lavia Levansia tells Kim Gongja that he's done enough and must go back inside now. Kim Gongja asks, "What do you intend to do now?" Lavia Levansia replies, "I will spend some time admiring the flowers before going back in. I wish to be alone, so I want everyone to go away." The servants tell Kim Gongja, "Butler, you go inside and rest as well." Sword Emperor Bai Huryong says to Kim Gongja, "Zombie, this is your chance. She's definitely depressed right now. You need to go ahead and win some points." Then, in frustration, he adds, "You're just ignoring me now?" Kim Gongja speaks to Lavia Levansia. "I can go a few days without sleeping. Aren't you tired?" Lavia Levansia replies, "I want to say I'm not, but I am indeed a little tired. It's my 14th regression already, and I've tried to set the Crown Prince on the right path for 140 days. Even if my love for him has not faded, he needs to be set on the right path for the nation's sake. This is so tough. Coming closer to La Vieille Avancia, Kim Gongja says, "You're not alone anymore. You have me. As long as humans have someone who sees and knows of the love that they have, then they would be able to withstand all situations." Sword Emperor Bai Huryong, while listening, says to himself, "Is that so?" "Yes, that's surprisingly the case." La Vieille Avancia replies, "You are mistaken about something. I repeat the last 10 days of my life, and you go back to the moment right before you die. It might look like the same situation, but it isn't. One of us will definitely regress earlier than the other, and whoever regresses first will forget about what's happening now. The other person will be trapped by time. We are two parallel lines that can never run to each other. It is possible for me to understand who you are and what your situation is, but that's all there is to it. It's impossible for the two of us to have a life together. The confessions you gave me, saying you wanted to spend your time with me, were beautiful. However, maybe it only sounds beautiful because it's one that can never become reality." Kim Gongja then shouts, "What if it can become reality?" La Vieille Avancia replies, "What ifs don't exist in this world?" Kim Gongja responds, "I will definitely keep my word. I'm not saying all this just so I can win over your heart. I'm not the kind of person who would lead people on with nonsense. What if I help you get out of this eternal 10-day cycle?" La Vieille Avancia replies, "How arrogant. I am content with living my own life." Kim Gongja says, "I know. It's the same for me as well, but still, I wish to help you because you are someone I love. Is that arrogance to you too?" He then gives La Vieille Avancia his coat. La Vieille Avancia asks, "What do you want from me?" as she wears Kim Gongja's coat. Kim Gongja says, "Please stay with me until this world faces its end, and I would be really grateful if you could help me love you more. Do it to the point where I'm so drunk in love for you that I can't get out of your grasp." Kim Gongja thinks to himself that he realized the cult interrogator had already reached 100% synchronization. The secret to clearing this stage is quite tricky, but it would probably work. La Vieille Avancia asks, "Are you really asking me to help you with that?" Kim Gongja replies, "It will be fine. I'm pretty easy to win over. My heart is already racing like crazy just with you holding my hand." "How shameless," La Vieille Avancia responds as she touches Kim Gongja's face. "All right, since I said I would teach you about love, I will take responsibility for it. Would this be enough?" A system notification shows, "You are sincere with your character." Kim Gongja blushes and says, "Yes, that is enough." "Goodness, I know I'm not in the place to say something like this, but aren't you a little too naive?" La Vieille Avancia asks. "I don't know how you survived in such an arduous world." "I've died a ton of times," Kim Gongja replies. "Does your heart also race after seeing such a weak side of me? I heard that showing one's weak side can sometimes be effective in winning over someone's heart. I understand now, after seeing you quarrel with Sylvia Agony. You might be wise, but you are the kind that can't stay still when provoked, even if that means you will lose out in the process. That's why I want to give this a try. You talk as if you are an expert in love, but isn't being loved as important as giving love? You are clueless about being loved, or at least you are more clueless than Sylvia Agony." Kim Gongja and La Vieille Avancia look at each other. A system notification shows, "You are sincere with your character." "Keep talking, I'm starting to love hearing your voice," La Vieille Avancia says. Kim Gongja continues, "And so, La Vieille Avancia touches Kim Gongja's lips and says, 'Your teeth are so white.' It's no surprise that Sylvia Agony was able to steal the Crown Prince from you," Kim Gongja remarks. "You need to analyze what the Crown Prince's preferences are even more thoroughly." "Your tongue is red. It looks pretty," La Vieille Avancia comments. "Why did you stop talking again? I can't admire your tongue if you don't talk. Keep talking. Do you surrender?" Kim Gongja nods and says, "Yes. Do it to the point where I'm so drunk in my love for you that I can't get out of your grasp. Kim Gongja, still gazing at the pretty face of Lavia Levansia, says, "You really are someone who likes living life while saying dangerous things. I don't know what great idea you've thought of that made you so confident, but you are so fearless. Well, since I've gone through 14 regressions, I don't mind being a part of it, even if it's just for a moment," Lavia Levansia replies. Getting closer to Lavia Levansia, Kim Gongja hears her say, "Be a bad person to another bad person. That is my principle. As I reflect on the incidents that happened today, I think the Crown Prince has been a little too much of a bad person to me. I won't let that continue." Kim Gongja asks, "Are you finally going to give up on him?" Lavia Levansia replies, "No, my heart has already become a constellation and is stuck in the night sky. I'm incapable of doing that. But I want to also become a bad person that's gone a little overboard. I'm going to have an affair with you starting today." "Huh?" Kim Gongja responds in surprise. Kim Gongja thinks to himself that Lavia Levansia is his first love, and this doesn't feel right. An affair? There ought to be something more romantic. He then asks Lavia Levansia, "Do you love me?" She responds with a straightforward no. "But you are a servant of Sylvia Avenai. She cherishes you as her only childhood friend and butler." Lavia Levansia continues, "I'm curious about what face she will make when she catches wind of us dating. I'm sure the Crown Prince will be taken aback as well." "So, you're going to act like we're dating to get revenge on the two of them?" Kim Gongja asks, trying to understand. Lavia Levansia hugs Kim Gongja tightly and asks, "Do you hate that idea?" She then jumps into Kim Gongja's arms and he catches her by her legs as she demands, "Say my name." Kim Gongja, with a deep voice, says, "Lavia Levansia." "Good," she responds. "Do you remember what I taught you when I first talked about love?" "Love starts from meeting a bad person," Kim Gongja recalls. Lavia Levansia nods. "That's right. A system notification shows you are syncing with your character. I will become the first bad person for you," Lavia Levansia says, as they share a kiss. Meanwhile, Sword Emperor Bai Huryang watches them and comments to himself, "Since they are both crazy, they are so compatible with each other. Well, I doubt it's possible for you to date an ordinary person. Birds of the same feather flock together after all. Congrats on your first love, although it's an affair." The next morning, Kim Gongja washes his face, adjusts his bow tie and speaks to the mirror. Lavia Levansia. A system notification shows you are syncing with your character. Kim Gongja thinks to himself that all he did was call Lavia Levansia's name, and he guesses he's really fallen in love. He calls for the status window, and his stats are shown. Name, Death Sovereign, Rank, D. Skills, I want to become like you, S plus Return as Clockwork Watch, Sword Constellation, A plus Goblin High Society, F. 100 Soul Reincarnation, SS, Demonic Heaven Art, A plus, you have the blessing of the beauty of God. You have the blessing of the snake of God. Kim Gongja thinks to himself while looking at his status window. The life of Kim Gongja is described so simply. My jealousy, my secrets, my relationships, my humor, willpower and happiness are all included as well. He then opens another status window to see all his likes and dislikes, curious about how he looks. Getting frustrated, Kim Gongja says, "I'm still Kim Gongja. I didn't get consumed by my character like the cult interrogator. My plan will proceed according to plan this time around. I will make it happen." He then calls for Sword Emperor Bai Huryang and tells him, "If I get consumed by my role as a butler, I want you to do something for me. There is a high chance that I won't be able to hear your voice when my synchronization reaches 100%. Even with all my skills, I will probably forget to use them. We must do everything we can to prevent me from reaching a synchronization rate of 100%. 99% is the last line of defense. It can't be allowed to go any higher. Got it?" He shows the dagger from his pocket and adds, "If it looks like I'm going above 99%, please stop me. regardless of what you have to do. Sword Emperor Bai Huryong replies, I can't believe you're worried about that. You have such a strong mind of your own. Is there a possibility that situation will even happen? Kim Gongja enthusiastically responds, yes, there is, because I'm going to intentionally raise my synchronization rate that high. What? Sword Emperor Bai Huryong is surprised. If you do that, you will fail this stage and remain stuck in this world, though. I can't tell you why I'm doing it right now. It will only work if I'm the only one who knows the plan, Kim Gongja explains. I'm going to make use of the loophole within the tower's system and clear this stage. Please help me if I'm in danger. I'll be counting on you then, Mr. Strongest in the world, who wants to become my master. I will be leaving to help my lover now. In another scene, Kim Gongja speaks to Lavielle Evansia saying, You must have been pushing yourself too hard, right? Every night, you're battling demons and cleaning up after the Crown Prince or Lady Goldenflower. That's why you've taken a leave of absence from the academy today as well. Lavielle Evansia replies, Don't worry, it's been this way ever since my first regression. More accurately, it's been like this since birth. I practically grew up in this mansion. It just got worse after I stuck the sword into the mirror, which caused my heart to disappear. The reason that the Emperor gave orders not just to me, but to Sylvia Avenay as well, is one of the causes too, which is why, even if I become the Empress, I will die not long after. It's hard for me to conceive children as well. I'm not suitable to become the Empress. Lavielle Evansia coughs hard, and Kim Gongja hands her the tea. Lavielle Evansia sips the tea and thanks Kim Gongja. She notices that he added a lot of honey, exactly how she likes it. She asks, How did you know? Kim Gongja replies, You told me previously that the apostles before me brought a guideline with them, and it was written there. Lavielle Evansia has a poor sense of taste, so she enjoys extreme flavors. I just used whatever was written there. That means you are also going to be the same as them too? Lavielle Evansia asks. Since you are the one who told me about it first, I'm not the same. I simply used it as a reference. I hope that's how you would see it, Kim Gongja responds. Lavielle Evansia remarks, Tack in a closer look. You are pretty cheeky too. So, what's the plan you have come up with? Kim Gongja explains, The time that I'm spending with you now is just a form of entertainment. One of us will definitely forget our time spent together, so I doubt there is any way to resolve this. You probably have never entrusted your life to anyone before. Please have trust in me. Even if we are not dating for real, I'm someone you have chosen. I'm anything but competent. There are times when we need help from others, and this is your situation right now. Even if I die, the Empire needs to be strong. I need to set the Crown Prince straight. I need to defeat the demons of blood too. You must have thought that way through all 14 regressions of yours, right? Kim Gongja continues. Lavielle Evansia asks, Do you think I'm worn out? Kim Gongja answers, Yes, and please rest a little. I think I'm the kind who hates seeing the person I love bear every burden herself. No, I'm certain. I hope that when I'm tired, the person I love would help me, and vice versa. We have just a fake relationship, Lavielle Evansia points out. It doesn't matter because I'm serious about this, Kim Gongja replies. Do you not find this insulting at all? You still don't know me well enough, Kim Gongja continues. I'm really optimistic. Did you think I would be discouraged by my inferiority complex just because you are fake dating me? Not at all. I actually think of this as an opportunity. You will end up loving me eventually. Lavielle Evansia replied, My goodness, just where does that confidence of yours come from? Kim Gongja responded, Because we all end up spending time that belongs only to us. Until you say that you're sick of me, I won't give up on you no matter what happens. I will do my best to become a pillar of support in your life. Midnight came quickly. Lavielle Evansia prepared and took out her sword, saying, Time's up. Let's do what we must today. Kim Gongja refused, saying to Lavielle Evansia, No, you need to rest. Are you expecting to fight stronger enemies with that body of yours? Please leave this to me. Kim Gongja then proceeded to eliminate every monster threatening Lavielle Evansia by 8 in the morning. Kim Gongja had taken care of all the paperwork for Lavielle Evansia, telling her, Please don't bother yourself with such tasks as well. Lavia Levancia asked, "What are you doing right now?" Kim Gongja replied, "There are only a few days left until this world ceases. If the empire is going to fall just because you don't do some paperwork, then let it fall right now." Kim Gongja proceeded to burn all of her paperwork, adding, "Just think of this as a holiday, your very own holiday." By 4 in the afternoon, Lavia Levancia remarked, "It's my first time leading a life like this." Kim Gongja and Lavia Levancia sat by the lake under a tree. Lavia Levancia said, "Is it really okay to not do anything? It's been 3 days since I hadn't gone for lessons. If someone saw me like this right now." Kim Gongja reassured her, "It's okay, I will make it all okay." Lavia Levancia expressed her reluctance to rely on him, to which Kim Gongja replied, "Who said I will be helping you for eternity? If I need help, I want you to help me. We just need to help each other out. Should I recite some of the poems you like?" Lavia Levancia agreed, and as they looked at the castle in the sunset, she said, "It's beautiful, isn't it?" Kim Gongja concurred, and Lavia Levancia remarked, "The season of spring makes everything look white. This is the period where the spring blossoms bloom before the magnolia flowers wither. The empire calls this white spring." Kim Gongja admired the beauty of the season, and Lavia Levancia added, "I can't remember how long it's been since I've seen such a sight." A system notification appeared, indicating that the presence of the heart covered by silver had become even stronger. Suddenly, Lavia Levancia remembered the time she held the sword, and tears welled up in her eyes. The heart covered by silver manifested, turning the sky red. A servant nearby asked if it was blood in the sky, and as stars started to fall and hit the castle, the apocalypse seemed to begin. Lavia Levancia turned to Kim Gongja and asked, "Butler, I feel at peace when I'm with you. Can I really trust you?" Kim Gongja replied, "You told me this before, that we are like parallel lines, and the one who dies first will definitely regress first. That's why we will never be together for eternity." He took her hands in his, continuing, "Starting from now, I will cover you with my aura. It won't just be your body, it will also surround your brain. Similarly, I will do the same with myself. I will then explode both of our heads at the exact same time. It's true that the person who dies first will regress first. There is no guarantee that the one who's unable to regress would keep their memories. In that case, there is only one way we can remain together. We need to die at the same time," Kim Gongja explained. He looked into Lavia Levancia's eyes and said, "Lavia Levancia, please die together with me." Kim Gongja thought to himself, "Just like how people manage their lives, I managed my own death. I was always able to think of an easier way to die, like exploding my brain with aura. I could end my life painlessly in an instant. It was a simple and easy method. That is why I didn't die that way. If I get used to these things, I will let my guard down. This is also why the Flame Emperor was killed by me. That's why I chose not to die that way. I chose a more painful death in order to keep my senses and ability to make judgments as vivid and clear as possible. However, today's a whole different matter." Addressing Lavia Levancia, Kim Gongja said, "It's okay. It will end in an instant." Lavia Levancia then remarked, as the aura of Kim Gongja covered her hand, "It's so warm. It's as if warm water is flowing into my body through my blood vessels. If this is what your body temperature is like, then you have a slightly warmer one than I do. I feel so uneasy. I've never felt like this before, even through all those past regressions. That's because it would be fine as long as I didn't lose myself, but I don't wish to lose you today." Suddenly demons appeared, causing the servants to panic. Lavia Levancia declared, "No mistakes are allowed. If either of us dies 0.1 seconds earlier than the other, I will blame you for eternity. You are only allowed one chance. Engrave my words into your heart," Kim Gongja assured her. "All right." A system notification appeared, showing the heart covered with silver looking at Kim Gongja. Lavia Levancia then added, "Take responsibility for causing me to start trusting other people again." More system notifications appeared, indicating the appearance of various creatures. Lavia Levancia remarked, "They are creatures who just can't read the atmosphere." Kim Gongja replied, "We all have to teach him a lesson. They will need to learn that only death awaits if they try to come in between someone else's love. Lavia agreed, saying, I like the sound of that. Kim Gongja then used the demonic heaven divine art, 9th form of the demonic heaven divine art, sword of suicide. A system notification appeared stating, You have died, returning to 24 hours prior. Kim Gongja found himself in the grass, called by Lavia, who asked if he was awake. She teased, I can't believe you're waking up so late. What a pathetic butler. Kim Gongja was shocked, thinking to himself, Did we succeed? In retaining both our memories while regressing Lavia, then continued, Butler, I think you lied to me a little. You promised that you would spend the same time period with me. But I returned 9 days earlier than you did. Even though we had a fake relationship, how could you leave your loved one alone for 9 whole days? Overcome with emotion, Kim Gongja immediately hugged Lavia. She continued, You will need to go through a lot to make up for your wrongdoings this time around. Kim Gongja apologized, and Lavia dropped her umbrella, saying, It's okay, as she hugged him back. She reassured him, It's all right now. I can no longer bring myself to say that watching over you, even though you are unable to spend the last day with me, has been really boring. Kim Gongja said, That's a lie. Lavia replied, Yes, it was boring, but it's fine since I'm good at waiting. Kim Gongja apologized again, and Lavia forgave him. A system notification then appeared, indicating that the synchronization with the character was at 71%. Kim Gongja said to Lavia, My lady, I need a favor from you. I'm really sorry, but can you wait just a little while longer? He played with her silky smooth hair and continued, 8 days, 7 days, 6 days. I will reduce 1 day at a time until we can be together starting from the first day. Excited, Lavia grabbed Kim Gongja by his collar and exclaimed, You are so cheeky. You are asking me to die 9 more times. Kim Gongja asked, Did it hurt for you? Lavia leaned closer and replied, No, but you are so bad for wanting to take my life multiple times even after taking it once. Then he asked the long-awaited question, Can I kiss you? Suddenly, a system notification interrupted, saying, You have died, returning to 24 hours prior. The scene shifted to the halls at night, and another system notification appeared saying, You have died. Again the scene changed, this time outside with the notification, You have died. In another scene, Kim Gongja asked Lavia, You brushed your teeth before you came, right? Lavia replied, I think I will exercise my right to remain silent. Kim Gongja protested, That's not fair, he continued. Haven't you made me wait for a total of 39 days? With that little selfishness of mine, it will help you feel less guilty. You ought to thank me. Thinking to himself, Kim Gongja reflected, That means we've kissed for 39 days. It sounds embarrassing, so stop talking once again. A system notification interrupted. You have died, returning to 24 hours prior. In another scene, the cult interrogator called for Death Sovereign and exclaimed, Lavia is here. What is she doing here so late? I heard that she's staying in another place and not in the dormitories. Kim Gongja inquired, Where is she right now? Walking past the cult interrogator, he asked, Death Sovereign? The scene shifted to in front of the dormitories, and yet another system notification appeared. You have died, returning to 24 hours prior. Finally, the scene changed to a ball where Kim Gongja looked at Lavia. She initially showed no reaction on her face, but suddenly they walked towards each other and kissed passionately. People around them were shocked to see a butler and Lavia kissing. After the kiss, Kim Gongja asked Lavia, Is this still our first day? She replied, It's our first day now, our eternal first day, as long as we both want it. In the background, the cult interrogator asked, Did I miss something in the middle of the ball? Kim Gongja and Lavia kissed, stunning the crowd into whispers and exclamations. A person from the crowd asked, What on earth happened? Another questioned, What I saw wasn't real, was it? Sword Emperor Bai Huryung couldn't believe his eyes and shouted, "My eyes, why do I have to suffer something like this instead of attaining Buddhahood after my death? Why did I have to see this live in person? Zombies, stop it!" As he covered his eyes with his hands, people around murmured among themselves, "What on earth is this? That butler belongs to Lady Goldenflower, though. If the Emperor hears of this, Lady Lavielle Evansia is the Crown Princess." Kim Gongja thought to himself, "It's about time people reacted like this." The Crown Prince then called for Lavielle Evansia, asking, "What are you doing right now?" Lavielle Evansia looked at the Crown Prince with disgust and replied, "I apologize for causing such a commotion, Your Highness. I've done something that shouldn't have been done in public." The Crown Prince was shocked as Lavielle Evansia continued, "I understand my crimes are severe, so I will gladly accept my punishment." She handed over a letter to the Crown Prince and said, "My request to withdraw from the Academy." In the letter, she had written, "I know you have a big heart and would have trouble choosing a punishment for me, so I've gone ahead and prepared my own punishment. I shall withdraw from the Academy and isolate myself until my withdrawal has been completely processed. I won't take any visitations, so I hope you can grant this punishment to me." Reading the letter, the Crown Prince muttered, "Lavielle Evansia." Lavielle Evansia then grabbed Kim Gongja and tried to run away, shouting to the Crown Prince, "Your Highness, please permit that to be my punishment." Outside, as they ran, Kim Gongja thought to himself, "Is this really okay? Her love for the Crown Prince should still be alive since she offered her heart to the mirror. Though I should think about what the Crown Prince has done this whole time. More importantly, Lavielle Evansia seems to be happy. That's good enough then." The cult interrogator then shouted and waved at Kim Gongja, calling him Death Sovereign. He asked, "What about clearing the stage?" Running alongside them, he inquired, "And what was the meaning behind that kiss just now? I have no inkling why you would do such a thing. Also, when I see the two of you together, my heart beats abnormally. What does that mean?" Kim Gongja replied with a smirk, "You are having a heart attack. Also, I will clear the stage by myself. Just think of this as a break for yourself, and rest." The cult interrogator nodded. "I see. All right then, I will act independently and do as I want." Kim Gongja added, "But you must not kill people, nor can you torture them. Same goes for kidnapping people to get information or imprisoning others." The cult interrogator scratched his head. "Oh, okay, but that would mean I have nothing left to do, though." Kim Gongja grinned. "You will have things to do later on. Just read a fairy tale book in the corner of the room until that time comes." Cult interrogator exclaimed, "I'm hearing something. Tell me that my synchronization's gone up. What is this?" Kim Gongja replied with a mischievous grin, "That's the heart attack again." And he and Lavielle Evansia ran away. Inside the carriage, Lavielle Evansia said to Kim Gongja, "From tomorrow onwards, the whole empire will be in an uproar. It will start with about 200 letters from the capital's high society. I will probably also receive around 20 letters from my hometown's high society, and among them, 10 will be from my father. Lastly, the emperor will be sending an envoy to me." Kim Gongja suggested a solution for this situation. "Pardon? Wait, you just called me Kim Gongja," he exclaimed, looking at the castle. "It's so small. I've been stuck in that palace for too long." The Sunwin Academy is a facility established for the sake of strengthening the emperor's power, Kim Gongja explained. The children of powerful families from all over the empire are forced to enter the academy to be taught the same education, language, and activities, so they will inherit the nature of the United Empire. Inside that small academy, jealousy, vanity, arrogance, and possessiveness prevail, but they're simply being covered up in the name of tradition and order. The empire that we will rule over in the future can't be found in that academy. I wonder if the Crown Prince knows that. Worry about the empire later on. You're trying to take on too much right now, Kim Gongja advised. For now, just think only about me. That should be more than enough to keep you busy. Lavielle Evansia then came closer to Kim Gongja and said firmly, "Kim Gongja, if you dare leave a scar on my heart, I will kill you. Do you understand that?" Kim Gongja nodded. Yes, I understand. I will never let your soul get hurt at all. If I harm it unwittingly, then I will apologize to you directly. But Lavia Levancia added with a steely gaze, I think you need to have a slightly better understanding. If you betray me, then use these hands of yours to strangle me. Don't even use aura. I want you to kill me with your own hands over and over again, until the fact that I met you in this world is completely erased. I don't care if it takes a few hundred or a few thousand days. I shall sentence you to inflict my death, and I want you to live eternally, remembering the fact that you do not have my forgiveness. That's right, Kim Gongja agreed. Know that the moment you betray me, you will be banished to an eternal hell. Lavia Levancia said firmly, I understand, Kim Gongja. If you have any secrets to confess to me, do it now. Kim Gongja then revealed a skill card, explaining, I have a skill known as 100-soul reincarnation. Anyone that I kill, I can summon them after they die. If I wish to, I could allow the summon to inherit the appearance and memories of its past life. Lavia Levancia pondered for a moment and said, I suppose you could summon me too then. Kim Gongja nodded. Since you died with me 9 times, I could summon 9 of you, but I don't intend to do so at all. Lavia Levancia added another condition. I want to add another condition for you, if you betray me. Destroy that skill completely. Kim Gongja agreed. All right. Sorry for not telling you about this earlier, and he held Lavia Levancia's hands. Lavia Levancia said softly, I will forgive you if you promise me one thing. Kim Gongja asked, What is it? She replied, Do not commit suicide without my permission. Don't die even if a time comes when it's easy for you to do so. You are my lover, not someone who I would throw away easily. Even if you really can't avoid death, then I want you to struggle until the very end. Kim Gongja nodded solemnly. All right. Lavia Levancia then asked, Tell me what you want from me. Kim Gongja looked into her eyes and said, I want you to trust me when I tell you to do so. Lavia Levancia smiled gently and replied, I shall always trust you, before leaning in to kiss Kim Gongja passionately. Kim Gongja said, Lady Silver Lily, let's just not think of anything and take a break for 10 days. There's no one here who works as hard as you, so let's forget all our work for 10 days and use the regression skill to our heart's content. The Lady of the Silver Lily, Lavia Levancia, replied, You want us to enjoy ourselves in a way that no normal person can. Kim Gongja said, That's right. No matter how chaotic things may become, no one will remember anything if we just go back one day, right? I knew you'd get it. You're so quick on the uptake, Kim Gongja added. The Lady of the Silver Lily, Lavia Levancia, sighed. Looks like I've gotten into a relationship with a bad boy. A servant asked, Which seats would you like? Kim Gongja put down his suitcase and said, I'll hire the troops for a whole day, all 6 troops. The Lady of the Silver Lily, Lavia Levancia, said, Gongja, there's something I've always wanted to do. Kim Gongja asked. The Lady of the Silver Lily, Lavia Levancia, answered, To see acts performed by all 6 troops on a huge stage. 3 acts will be tragedies, 2 acts will be comedies, and I'd like the remaining one to be an opera. Kim Gongja said, That sounds like it'll be really chaotic though. The Lady of the Silver Lily, Lavia Levancia, grinned. Exactly, I want to see chaos. An actor exclaimed, Ah, Romeo, how are you, Romeo? Her friend replied, Ah, my lady, you're just so lovely. As Kim Gongja and the Lady of the Silver Lily, Lavia Levancia, laughed while watching Night Fell. A man said, Call it. A bald man hesitated. Kikul? The Lady of the Silver Lily, Lavia Levancia, said, Say you'll fold. The bald man stammered, I fold. The Lady of the Silver Lily, Lavia Levancia, urged, Raise the stakes. More. The bald man exclaimed, That this is tyranny. You might be the daughter of a duke, but you can't act like this in my abode. Kim Gongja shouted, How dare you speak so loudly against Lady Silver Lily? Young miss, let's execute him, Kim Gongja added. The Lady of the Silver Lily, Lavia Levancia, said, Forget it. Even if Baron Lowe is secretly making drugs underground and distributing them across the country, what will happen if he gets executed because of it? The Baron was shocked. What? Do you mean? The Lady of the Silver Lily, Raviel Ivancia, coolly replied, "Sit down. If you play 10 rounds with me, you'll survive tonight." A few moments later, in the Lady of the Silver Lily's room, Kim Gongja asked from the bed, "Are you happy?" The Lady of the Silver Lily, Raviel Ivancia, answered, "This is my first time wondering if it's really okay for me to live a little longer." Kim Gongja said, "I'm happy too. Look, my synchronization rate has increased again." Kim Gongja's synchronization rate was at 76%. The Lady of the Silver Lily, Raviel Ivancia, said, confused. "Synchronization?" Kim Gongja explained, "It's a type of measure that the constellation who sent me here put in place. I came into this world and became a butler, right? This shows me how much I've assimilated with my character. Whenever you call me by name, caress my face, or stay in my embrace, like right now, that value will increase." The Lady of the Silver Lily, Raviel Ivancia, mused, "My synchronization rate is increasing right now as well. What will happen to you when that number hits 100? Kim Gongja said, "Let's not care about that right now. We decided that you'd only think about me, didn't we?" The Lady of the Silver Lily, Raviel Ivancia, sighed. "You're so cunning." Kim Gongja thought to himself one day. A servant shouted on the streets, "This street belongs to Lady Raviel Ivancia for today. How dare you bring this horse carriage, purchased by mooching off the sweat and blood of commoners here?" Kim Gongja muttered to himself, "Another day." Kim Gongja shouted at the Majesty, "Your Majesty, you must rein in your son. He's such a good-for-nothing." Your Majesty," the servant stammered. Kim Gongja said to himself, "We took time to travel around. They played in the fountain, gave gold to the poor, watched the sunset together in the park, and sat on the fountain at noon." Kim Gongja, while holding the Lady of the Silver Lily, Raviel Ivancia's soft hands, said, "We've done something really terrible." The Lady of the Silver Lily, Raviel Ivancia, sighed. "Yes, we're terrible individuals," Kim Gongja said. "But we're the only ones who know that." Kim Gongja's synchronization rate was at 81%. The Lady of the Silver Lily, Raviel Ivancia, said, "Yes, we're accomplices?" Kim Gongja asked, "Raviel, do you remember what I told you in that horse carriage?" The Lady of the Silver Lily, Raviel Ivancia, replied, "I remember everything you've said to me." Kim Gongja said, "I asked you to trust me whenever I told you to do so." The Lady of the Silver Lily, Raviel Ivancia, said, "Of course I will." Kim Gongja said, "I'd like you to keep that promise right now." The Lady of the Silver Lily, Raviel Ivancia, said, "You look like you're up to no good. Telling me everything honestly would be better for your heart." Kim Gongja said, "I'm going to increase my synchronization rate all the way to 99% now. I need to become a butler at almost 100%. I need to become someone who was born and raised in this world." The Lady of the Silver Lily, Raviel Ivancia, asked, "Why is that so?" Kim Gongja said, "I can't tell you the reason." The Lady of the Silver Lily, Raviel Ivancia, said, "If that's something you can't tell me, then it's something that will only succeed if only you know about it. The reason you're telling me this now is probably because you need me to do something." Kim Gongja replied, "That's right." The Lady of the Silver Lily, Raviel Ivancia, sighed, "You made me make that promise back then for this very moment, huh? I should have been more cautious." "What do I need to do?" Kim Gongja thought to himself. First, we went back to the first day, with this stage as the start. The Lady of the Silver Lily, Raviel Ivancia, closed the door, looked behind and asked, "What do I need to do now?" Kim Gongja said, "Please tie my hands and legs tightly to the chair." The Lady of the Silver Lily, Raviel Ivancia, hesitated. "Gongja, I think it's too early for us to do something like that." Kim Gongja asked, "What are you thinking of? I'm satisfied with our current lives, so don't worry." The Lady of the Silver Lily, Raviel Ivancia, said, "While I did promise that I would trust you, you're not giving me any reasons to do so." Despite her hesitation, the Lady of the Silver Lily, Raviel Ivancia, expertly tied Kim Gongja to the chair. Kim Gongja said, "Great, it's tight enough." The Sword Emperor suddenly called out, Hey, Zombie Kim, what the heck are you doing? I feel really uneasy right now. A system notification appeared. Sparkly is worried about your actions. Kim Gongja thought to himself, yes. I think the butler who owns this body now loves both ladies. It's hopeless love on both ends. The butler will probably silently close off his own heart. The Crown Prince loves both ladies as well. Lady Golden Flower loves the Crown Prince and the butler. Kim Gongja's synchronization rate was at 81%. Kim Gongja continued thinking. La Vielle also loves both me and the Crown Prince. This is a really messed up romance, but thanks to this, I'm able to come up with such a plan. Kim Gongja said, please bring the mirror in front of me. He stared at himself and used his skill status window. A system notification appeared. Preferred genres: martial arts, romance, mystery, adventure. Disliked genres: none. Preferred characters: masters, noble heroes, people who sacrifice, people who work hard, children, kind people, people who are not overconfident, people who are generous to others, people who understand. Preferred plots: justice wins in the end, friendship, love. Disliked plots: self-loathing, giving up, running away, disillusionment, monopolization. Kim Gongja was at 4 3/4 hearts. Kim Gongja said, La Vielle. The lady of the silver lily, Raviel Ivanzia, replied, I'm listening. Kim Gongja said, please give me a really passionate kiss right now, so that I can fall even more in love with you. The lady of the silver lily, Raviel Ivanzia, teased, do you like being kissed while being tied up? You should have told me this earlier. Kim Gongja said, after a certain point in time, I will no longer be myself. Kim Gongja thought to himself, when I saw the cult interrogator synchronizing completely with Lady Golden Flower, I noticed something strange. Her hair grew as usual. That's my secret plan for clearing this stage in my own way. Kim Gongja said, when my synchronization rate goes beyond 90% and gets closer to 100%, I want you to kill me with your own hands. The lady of the silver lily, Raviel Ivanzia, gasped, what? Kim Gongja said, think about it. I bet you can think of the exact same thing I'm thinking of. After all, you're a regressor just like me. The lady of the silver lily, Raviel Ivanzia, said, Gongja, this is dangerous. This is no different from a gamble. Kim Gongja replied, from the point of it being a gamble, we've already won. Because this is the tower's error. Simply pointing out this error puts us in a favorable position. The lady of the silver lily, Raviel Ivanzia, said, there's one more problem. I won't be able to remember you. Kim Gongja said, that's okay. I'll figure it out somehow. But I only ask one favor of you. If I'm unable to leave this world on my own, please make it so I can be called Transmit. Trust me. The lady of the silver lily, Raviel Ivanzia, replied, okay, I was your first dog and you'll be my last. Gee, I really ended up with such a bad guy as a lover. As she touched Kim Gongja's chin, she kissed him passionately. You are syncing with your character. Synchronization rate is now at 84%. Kim Gongja thought to himself. Last time. You are syncing with your character. Synchronization rate is now at 85%. Kim Gongja continued thinking. The cult interrogator transforming into Lady Golden Flower was somehow strange. You are syncing with your character. Synchronization rate is now at 86%. Kim Gongja thought, why is the transformation still as is? The cult interrogator can freely change his appearance using the holy technique. However, that is a skill possessed only by the cult interrogator. Lady Golden Flower didn't have it. Despite that, her hair still grew. That means syncing doesn't make one's skills disappear. Kim Gongja's synchronization rate is at 87%. Suddenly, the lady of the silver lily, Raviel Ivanzia, got closer to Kim Gongja. A system notification appeared. You are syncing with your character. Another system notification appeared. Your current synchronization rate is 88% as memories of his past flooded his mind. A system notification urged, please stop right now. The lady of the silver lily, Raviel Ivanzia, asked, are you okay? The Sword Emperor shouted, Gongja, what the heck are you doing? Kim Gongja, drunk in love, replied, yeah, I'm okay for now. More. The lady of the silver lily, Raviel Ivanzia, smiled mischievously. You mean you want me to kiss you more? How naughty of you, my lover. and they continued to kiss passionately. Kim Gongja said, "Lavielle, I love you. Even if I were to be reborn, I'd still love you, so please, make it so that I don't forget, even if I die." The lady of the silver lily, Ravi Levanzia, replied, "I know." Kim Gongja thought to himself, "My existence is being chipped away." The lady of the silver lily, Ravi Levanzia, asked, "Gongja, are you okay?" Kim Gongja responded, "What on earth? My goodness, young Duke. Did you kidnap me?" "Ugh. The Avancia Duke family's power may reach the heavens and beyond, but even so, this is too much. Do you hate Lady Goldenflower so much that you'd threaten a lowly servant like me?" The lady of the silver lily, Ravielle Evanzia, was shocked. "I see. So this is how it is. I thought I no longer had a heart that could be hurt, but this certainly pains me." "Rejoice. Your sword undoubtedly pierced my heart." Kim Gongja, confused, asked, "What do you mean?" The lady of the silver lily, Ravielle Evanzia, responded, "Gongja." Kim Gongja asked, "Who are you calling?" The lady of the silver lily, Ravielle Evanzia, said, "My lover." She drew her sword and added, "The man who gave me his heart, and to whom I will give mine. If you scar my heart, I will kill you." As Kim Gongja's head hurt, the lady of the silver lily, Ravielle Evanzia, said, "Kim Gongja, return to me." Kim Gongja felt a sharp pain in his chest. The lady of the silver lily, Ravielle Evanzia, whispered, "I'll be waiting for you." She stabbed Kim Gongja's chest. As she kissed him, Kim Gongja thought, "Lady Silver Lily. Does she intend to pursue the scheme targeting Lady Goldenflower on a full scale? I must tell Lady Goldenflower. I want to—" Wipe her tears. A system notification appeared, "You have died." Another system notification followed, returning to 24 hours prior. A third notification said, "Error discovered." Another system notification appeared. The owner of the skill and the target of the skill are not the same. A system message continued, assessing whether to return to 24 hours prior from the owner's or target's perspective. The notification said, "Unable to assess. The given matter is beyond the tower's authority." The next system message read, "The tower has checked the authority of the Death Sovereign." A system notification said, "Clear. The Death Sovereign is temporarily qualified to be an apostle." The grantor of the interim apostle status was revealed, Humustra. A system notification followed. The tower considers the Death Sovereign's raising of the issue as an official agenda item. A system message said, "The tower calls for a majority voting meeting of the 6 pillars of life." A figure said, "Chubata, Mura waloyo bushi tu." Another figure responded, "Sato, my mao." A system notification confirmed. Request confirmed. Translating the language of Zrakua. A figure angrily said, "That little brat is playing with us. Call Humustra here right now. Why the heck did he send him as an apostle?" Another figure responded, "According to the procedures, there's nothing wrong with it." Another figure said, "More importantly, I'm sure he can't understand a word we're saying." One figure suggested, "Did he sync with his character? Reversing that will help in communicating." Another figure ordered, "Maya, reverse it." A system notification appeared. Request confirmed. Resetting the Death Sovereign's synchronization rate. Suddenly, Kim Gongja gasped. As his synchronization rate dropped to 0%, a figure said, "You deliberately used the regression skill after syncing with your character, didn't you? So that you could return 24 hours prior, as per the character's perspective, and not yours." Kim Gongja confirmed, "Yes, you're right. Send me back to the day before the beginning of the eternal 10 days. A figure angrily shouted, "Shameless bastard!" Another said, "Calm down, child. Your personality as a fragment during the Dark Ages is starting to resurface." An angry figure shouted, "I'll kill you." Another figure remarked, "Anger and jealousy do not help at all in negotiations." The angry figure shouted, "Dee!" A figure said, "You said you were the Death Sovereign, right? It's been a while since we've had to hold a meeting twice for the same person. How long has it been since we did this for the Constellation Killer? Moreover, the link between these two is getting stronger. I wonder if it's a coincidence." A system notification appeared. How bothersome. A system notification followed. If the synchronization rate was 100%, we could have regressed you to a day before from the butler's point of view. Another system notification said, If it were 90%, then it would be from the Death Sovereign's point of view. Yet another system notification appeared, however. It was 99%. A system notification continued. It's so ambiguous. Which side should we take? Kim Gongja said to himself, the master of the tower. Kim Gongja spoke. I think I should be regressed from the butler's point of view. A system notification asked, Convince me? Kim Gongja replied, Firstly, the numbers. A synchronization rate of 99% means there's only 1% left. Since the butler takes up the most percentage, it's only right to think that the butler is the one in charge of the body. The system responded, Yes, but the returner's clockwork watch is your skill. The only one who can use that skill is you. The system then asked, You need to regress, right? The system added, No need to be nervous. I just asked that question because I was curious. Kim Gongja said, Please think of it from the perspective of the butler. Both the butler and I have always quarreled about who should be in control of the body during this stage. There were times when the butler won, and times when I did. That means the butler fought me fairly and won. As a result, he gained my skill. The returner's clockwork watch is also the butler's skill. A system notification said, Ho. Another system notification said, That makes sense. Sure then, it's just like what you did. A system notification continued, just like how you copied the Flame Emperor's skills and obtained them. A system notification added, I wondered who would win if a regressor fought against another regressor. To think we'd have to return the butler to the moment before he gets the skill. A system notification said, We are actually impressed by your idea. A system notification followed. You could have chosen to run away and avoid drawing the attention of the Flame Emperor, but you didn't. Why is that so? A figure said, It's because he wanted revenge. How vicious. A system notification said, The moon that takes care of the blind curses you. Another said, It's because he's someone who has a great sense of justice. A system notification said, The princess that walks across mirages blesses you. A system notification said, Yes, that's it. He committed suicide for revenge at times, and for his sense of justice at other times. However, I'm only impressed because of one thing. A system notification said, The legislator of the beginning quietly speaks. The figure said, That was the only way to defeat the Flame Emperor with a 100% chance. A system notification said, Yes, Death Sovereign, your heart is so raw and hot, but your mind is so sly. You're constantly searching for a perfect victory. A system notification added, So, I've been waiting in anticipation for the logic you'll present to us to completely convince us. Kim Gongja said, Yes, we've done nothing wrong. This mistake is completely on the tower, an error. The problem lies in the judgment call about which personality should take charge upon the regression. If the tower were perfect, such an error wouldn't have occurred in the first place. A system notification said, Yes, I admit that. So? Kim Gongja said, Since we're victims of this error, please compensate us for it. Additionally, reward us for discovering the error as well. A figure said, How impudent, watch your words. Do you want your existence erased? A system notification said, The god who dances in the void glares at you. A system notification said, The moon that takes care of the blind is trying to kill you. A system notification said, Stop. A system notification said, Interesting. A system notification said, The interesting part is your confidence. That will definitely compensate and reward you. Why should we do that when we could simply clear this mess and look away? Kim Gongja said, Because. A system notification said, May luck be on your side. Kim Gongja said, You've always wished luck upon me. You never mocked us, despite being one of the absolute beings, nor have you despised us. You never forced us to head in a certain direction. The hunters who wanted to stay on the first floor could stay there forever. You would wish luck upon those who wanted to climb the tower and request them to be careful. That's not all. Those people you allowed to have a floor were all lonely and miserable. You gathered all the people who experienced tragedies and operated your tower with them. You are kind. You don't interfere when we're fighting or trying to kill each other because you respect our freedom. You will compensate us for the loss caused by the tower's error, because the responsibility is on the tower, not us. Thank you for creating the tower. I've always wanted to tell you that, but I've never been in a situation where I could do so. I've always wanted to thank you. Without the tower, I would have lived a trashy life in the outside world. Actually, even after coming to the tower, I still lived a trashy life. Kim Gongja said to himself, I lived my life wrong. I lived my life wrong, but, Kim Gongja said, if it weren't for you. Kim Gongja said to himself, I wouldn't have gotten a second chance. Kim Gongja said, I wouldn't have been able to go back more than 4,000 days on my own. I was only able to do that because there was someone watching over me. That's the only thing that kept me going. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. The figure said, You're truly to my liking. A system notification said, The princess that walks across mirages looks upon you with favor. The figure said, It's my first time seeing a human give thanks in this place. A system notification said, The staff of ancient times looks upon you with favor. The figure said, It's normal for kids these days to point fingers and blame others first. A system notification said, The god who dances in the void looks upon you with favor. A system notification said, That was pretty cute. A system notification said, I'm just a mirror. If you see me as kind, then it's only because you're kind as well. A system notification said, Tell me, what kind of compensation would you like? Kim Gongja said, I'd like to return to 24 hours prior from the perspective of the butler. A system notification said, What about your reward? Kim Gongja said, Lady Silver Lily, please allow my lover to keep her memories. A system notification said, I see. A system notification said, You could request a really powerful skill, you know. After all, you discovered an error in the Another system notification followed. Shall we strengthen the return as clockwork watch? Make it so you can regress to any time instead of just 24 hours. A system notification continued. What about strengthening the 100 souls reincarnation? The summons could inherit not only the memories but also the abilities of the original. Kim Gongja said, I don't need them. Please, I'd just like to be with the one I love. The figure held Kim Gongja and said, Death Sovereign. A system notification said, May you be blessed with luck. Another system notification added, May luck be on your side. A system notification concluded, The meeting has come to an end. A system notification said, Adjusting synchronization rate. A system notification stated, Your current synchronization is at 99%. A system notification said, returning to 24 hours prior. Lady Golden Flower, Sylvia Arvanay, said, Butler, you're finally awake. Your afternoon nap was a little too long. Kim Gongja said, Young miss? Lady Golden Flower, Sylvia Arvanay, replied, Yes, your one and only. Kim Gongja thought to himself, What's happening? Lady Golden Flower, Sylvia Arvanay, said, I just came back from having dinner with the Crown Prince and found you sleeping so soundly on the chair. Isn't it improper for you to sleep ahead of your master? However, I decided to let you off because your face looked so cute while you were sleeping. You look like you're about to cry. Did you have a nightmare? Kim Gongja thought, What is this? Kim Gongja said, Did you enjoy your dinner with the Crown Prince? Lady Golden Flower, Sylvia Arvanay, exclaimed, Yes, and guess what? His Highness gave me a blue coral ring earlier. He did it in the canteen with the whole school watching. The Crown Prince sure knows how to make a girl happy. I wonder what kind of expression Lady Avancia would make when she hears the news. Kim Gongja said, Lavia. Lady Golden Flower, Sylvia Arvanay, confused, said, Butler? I don't think it's appropriate for you to speak of her name like that. Even though it's just the two of us here, that's still pretty disrespectful. Please mind your manners. Kim Gongja said, Young miss, what are you saying? Did you not hear what I just said? Lady Golden Flower, Sylvia Arvanay, replied, Pardon? Kim Gongja said, I don't know what's happening, but it feels like someone is shouting directly into my ears. Lady Golden Flower, Sylvia Arvanay, asked, Are you sick? Shall we go to the infirmary? Kim Gongja said, I'll go out for a quick breather. Lady Golden Flower, Sylvia Arvanay, said, All right, come back when you're done. Kim Gongja thought to himself, a time when I was still not a regressor. The Crown Prince got together with Lady Golden Flower. I was so angry that I made my wish upon the sword that was passed down within the family. When I did that, my life became eternal. What am I doing here? I need to go back. but my body is moving by itself. The lady of the silver lily, Raviolivansia, said, I will wait for you. I've been waiting for you. You look like you're in a predicament. You're very obvious with what you feel. I can see it clearly, even during the night. Just from reading your face, I can understand that this is your first. Kim Gongja thought, my first. Kim Gongja said, I don't know what I should tell you, so I'll just keep quiet. Lady Avansia, is this a dream? Why are you in my dream? The lady of the silver lily, Raviolivansia, replied, What an interesting question. I've become your dream, and you have become my life. This exchange of dream and life could be called our love, but I doubt you're asking me that question with that kind of romantic intent. If you're curious as to why you don't see any servants here, that's because I asked them to leave. Kim Gongja said, But why? The lady of the silver lily, Raviolivansia, said, And let me warn you, don't call me Lady Avansia with that mouth of yours, or I might just dig your heart out and kill you. She slapped his back lightly. The lady of the silver lily, Raviolivansia, said, What do you see? Kim Gongja said, I see the two of us standing side by side. The lady of the silver lily, Raviolivansia, said, And what else do you see? Kim Gongja grimaced in pain and said, Coo. Ugh, the lady of the silver lily, Raviolivansia, repeated, I asked you, what do you see? Kim Gongja said, Words. I see weird words, and I hear weird voices. The lady of the silver lily, Raviolivansia, said, You're receiving love, huh? Tell me more about those words. Kim Gongja said, I can't see them clearly. The words are incomplete. Stir, love, that's all I see. The lady of the silver lily, Raviolivansia, said, Stir is master and love. It sure is like you to have those words remaining. But is the word master in front of the word lover? While I understand why that's the case, I don't like it. Kim Gongja said, My lady, there are too many things that I don't understand. Although you did tell me this isn't a dream, in that case, what do you want from me? The lady of the silver lily, Raviolivansia, said, I want you. She leaned closer and continued, You said you felt like you were in a dream. What dream was it? Kim Gongja hesitated before replying, I can't remember it clearly, but there were a few scenes that I saw. One of them was you looking at me in tears. The lady of the silver lily, Raviolivansia, asked softly. What else? Kim Gongja said, and in that instant, I think my heart was in pain. I don't think it was just because I was pierced by the blade you stabbed into me. The lady of the silver lily, Raviolivansia, smiled faintly. I'm glad you remember to be sorry still. Do you know why you had such a dream? Kim Gongja shook his head. I have no idea at all. Raviel's expression darkened. It's because that's the trauma I have. My mother committed suicide. I remember the words she whispered into my ears on her last night. The memory of how everyone was hush-hush about death and quietly watched her get cremated by fire. Her voice grew heavier. But those memories weren't even my trauma. It wasn't even the memories of the Crown Prince giving Lady Goldenflower the coral ring as a marriage proposal. She paused, her gaze piercing. The memories of the 10 days that are repeated eternally. All the memories of all the things that used to hurt my heart terribly. Her voice sharpened as her hand tightened around Kim Gongja's throat. Because now only one person has the power to hurt my heart. She choked him and said, her tone venomous, I already warned you clearly that I'd kill you if you dared to scar me. I've been scarred. Now die. A system notification appeared. You have died. The lady of the silver lily, Raviolivansia, whispered, Die and love me again. A system notification followed, reenacting the trauma of the foe who killed you. Penalty level, intermediate. This is the hungry Eamon's journey. Kim Gongja gasped as he spoke. My lady, please think about this. You should be able to think of the same thing as me since we're both regressors. Raviel thought to herself, a dangerous man. I quickly realized what he was scheming. A scheme to make use of the tower's flaw and turn the whole game around. She watched him intently. He looked so innocent. How did he even come up with something like this? Her heart wavered, but her mind was resolute. However, Gongja, that's dangerous. Raviel thought, I didn't just want to be alive. I won't be able to remember you. Her thoughts spiraled. I wanted to live a life with you. All the memories we shared have become my existence. Her voice softened as she spoke aloud. Even if the plan works, and you push me away as I try to stab the mirror with the sword, ending the eternal cycle of 10 days, it would all mean nothing if I can't remember you. Kim Gongja met her gaze and said, It's all right. I'll deal with it no matter what. Please trust me. Raviel's inner conflict surfaced. How could you ask me to trust you without anything to back it up? I regret promising to trust you. But her resolve solidified. But since I already did, I have no choice but to follow through with my promise. She whispered to herself, I'll trust in the man I love. I'll trust in his competency. Raviel leaned in and kissed Kim Gongja. Because he's someone that I chose. Her voice turned steady as she said, So please convince the tower and succeed in regressing to a day prior. The problem will be what comes after that. Kim Gongja smiled faintly and said, Raviel, I love you. Raviel thought, how will he revert the synchronization rate when it goes beyond 90%? If he succeeds in regressing to a day prior, I'm certain he will forget about me. Even if he does remember me, it won't be a clear memory. Kim Gongja said with determination, I'm able to understand other people more easily than others. Raviel's gaze softened as she looked at him. But her heart darkened. I just need to kill him, she thought, her resolve wavering. The first person who brought me complete happiness, a naive yet mean person. I don't want to kill you, but if I do that, what happens now will definitely become my trauma, and my lover will be able to see everything that happened today. When that happens, I'll be able to show you all these memories. Kim Gongja woke up with a start. Goodness, Lady Raviel. Raviel thought to herself, this is the wound that you have left on me. Kim Gongja asked, startled, Did you just kidnap me? Raviel's thoughts whispered softly, Don't forget this, even in your death. You are here, in my heart, she said with a sad smile. See you later. Her thoughts echoed as she walked away. Are you listening to this? I'll be waiting for you. The lady of the silver lily, Raviel Evansia, said to herself. I love you. A system notification sounded. Intact consciousness of the target confirmed. The penalty is over. Your current synchronization rate is 98%. Suddenly Kim Gongja woke up, tears streaming down his face. Lady Goldenflower, Sylvia Avenay, asked, Butler, what's wrong? You suddenly started tearing up out of nowhere while I was speaking. Kim Gongja wiped his tears, his voice urgent. I need to go somewhere for a short while. Lady Goldenflower, Sylvia Avenay, protested. You can't. I was telling you about how I'll be having dinner with the Crown Prince tomorrow. Isn't it your duty to listen to all my boasts? Kim Gongja replied quickly. The Crown Prince will give you a blue coral ring tomorrow. Lady Goldenflower, Sylvia Avenay, blinked, confused. Pardon? What did you say? Answer me first before you leave. Kim Gongja didn't wait. He ran outside and saw the lady of the silver lily, Raviel Evansia. He asked, You're here. Have you been waiting for me? Raviel Evansia replied softly, Yes, it's the second time today. She then showed him a mirror and asked, What do you see? Kim Gongja gazed into the mirror. I see the words master and lover. I also see fragments of some words, but it's hard to tell what they say. Raviel Evansia said, Call me. But then she thought to herself, Don't call me Lady Evansia with that mouth of yours. Kim Gongja said, Lady. Raviel's expression softened. My lady. Kim Gongja nodded in understanding. That's much better. He held his face in confusion. Raviel Evansia thought to herself, What kind of dream did you have? Kim Gongja spoke up. You were crying. Raviel's voice was steady as she asked, And? Kim Gongja continued, There was a man tied up beside you. You looked like you were in pain as you stabbed him with a sword. Raviel's smile returned, faint and distant. You did great. Look, this is the evidence of the effort you put in for me. A system notification followed. The love of a certain regressor. Rank, X. Effect. Love is like poison for a regressor. For no matter how hard they struggle, they will not be able to spend time with the one they love. So a certain regressor made a wish. Please protect my memories of my lover. That wish reached the tower and came true. You now share a timeline with the one you love. If your lover regresses one day, you will also regress one day. This is the oath of the ring, the marriage of time. May luck be on both of your sides. However, it is only active when you and your lover love each other. Ravi Lavansia looked at the notification, lost in thought. Protect my memories of my lover, huh? What am I to do when I receive a proposal in this way? She gazed at Kim Gongja, her voice soft. I love your voice. Do you get it? I won't listen to anything other than you telling it to me in your own voice. As she played with his neck, her demeanor changed. She suddenly choked him, her voice cold. So come back quickly. I'll kill you however many times it takes, until you come back. If you can come back just because I show you my wounds, then I'll show them to you over and over again. So, look at my wounds and agonize. A system notification chimed. You have died. Ravi Lavansia said softly, look at the scar you've given me. Another system notification appeared. You have died. Raviel's voice was soft, yet chilling. Your traces are found in this place. A third notification followed. You have died, Raviel whispered. You're the only person in this world who can kill me. Another system notification echoed. You have died. And again, you have died. Raviel continued, her voice growing more desperate. And know that I'm the only one who can kill you. The cycle repeated as Kim Gongja's synchronization continued to decrease. Kim Gongja thought to himself, once again, I have gone to where you are. You were born as the legitimate daughter of the Duke family. You left your mother, who was saddened by the life she had to live. Because the person you would be engaged to was already chosen before you were born, you devoted your whole life to his sake after your birth. He paused, his heart heavy. Lady Silver Lily, the moon of Evansia, the future Duchess of Evansia. He sighed. Not the name that countless people call me by. Raviel Evansia looked at him with recognition. You're here, Kim Gongja said softly to himself. I've been waiting for you to call out the name that you want. He said aloud, Laviel. Raviel Evansia wrapped her arms around him and whispered, Gongja, I've been waiting for you. They hugged each other tighter, their bond undeniable. Kim Gongja whispered, Laviel. He thought to himself, thousands of words raced through my mind. I want to say. Then, with a heavy heart, he said to her, I'm sorry for all the unerasable wounds I have given you. He paused, searching for the right words, I want to say. And with deep sincerity he whispered, thank you for trusting me, waiting for me and loving me. But the only thing I can tell you right now, at this moment, is something that will only be said once in my life. Kim Gongja took a deep breath, his voice firm and full of emotion. Let's get married. Raviel Evansia looked at him in silence for a moment, her eyes full of emotion as she closed her eyes. Later, as they lay in bed, Kim Gongja whispered, Laviel, you're a genius. You were incredible. Kim Gongja looked at the lady of the silver lily, Raviel Evansia, and said, to think you would make use of my ability to see someone's trauma and use that to show me memories. I wouldn't have been able to think of something like that. Raviel Evansia smiled, her eyes soft as she responded. You're the type that respects others' pain. You're also incredible. Kim Gongja asked, how did you persuade the tower? The tower is like an administrator that is holy and inviolable to numerous constellations. I knew you had a way with sweet words, but to think it would be good enough to persuade even the tower. Kim Gongja shrugged. Actually, I don't remember it very well either. I think our memories would be veiled in this way if we met with the higher-ups of the tower. Raviel Evansia shook her head. That doesn't change the fact that you succeeded. My lover is so competent. Kim Gongja chuckled and replied, and my lover is a genius. He paused for a moment before asking, when shall we get married? Raviel Evansia raised an eyebrow. Are you rushing me right now? Kim Gongja smirked. In my opinion, what you just said sounded a little cowardly. Raviel Evansia narrowed her eyes. The correct procedure would be to break off my engagement with the Crown Prince. He and I are bound by our engagement. We'd get in trouble with the law if I married you now. Kim Gongja shrugged. The truth is, I don't really care about whether our marriage is legal or not. Having just a small wedding would be good enough for me. Raviel Evansia's gaze hardened. It matters to me. This is the world that I live in. This empire is also the one I've sworn my loyalty to and looked after. My world and my country have to acknowledge my marriage. Kim Gongja smirked. Wouldn't it be hard for people to give you the reaction you're looking for, though? Raviel Avanzia's eyes glittered dangerously. It's all right, Gongja. Any denizens who don't give us their blessings will die by my hands. Kim Gongja smiled inwardly. What do I do? She's so cool. He nodded. All right, but I have a condition. Raviel Avanzia tilted her head. What is it? Kim Gongja's voice was serious. I want you to request to break off the engagement first. Don't allow the Crown Prince to suggest it, because it's obvious he'll want to break it off. Those who don't know better will gossip about you, and I can't forgive that. Raviel Avanzia raised an eyebrow. Are you asking me to disrespect the Crown Prince? Kim Gongja nodded. Yes. Raviel Avanzia smirked. That's easy. Kim Gongja looked at her, intrigued. Do you have something in mind? Raviel Avanzia's eyes sparkled with mischief. Of course. Who do you think you're asking? Every time the Crown Prince met with Lady Goldenflower secretly, I'd get a report in my study room's drawer. I have hundreds of those reports. I have plenty of witnesses as well. Kim Gongja thought to himself, what do I do? She's really so cool. Raviel Avanzia shrugged. There's no need to go to the courts for this, though. The imperial family will want to keep this quiet, so I just need to request an audience with the emperor. Kim Gongja asked, when do you intend to visit the palace? Raviel Avanzia smiled. As soon as possible. Gongja, after we get married, you'll become a man of the Avanzia family. The imperial family will probably bestow a title upon you. You'll become my husband. I'll have to address you formally in official meetings. Is that all right? Kim Gongja thought for a moment. You're the master of the Avanzia family, and I'm still an outsider. Don't worry. You don't need to be concerned about things like that. Raviel Avanzia smiled knowingly. I knew you'd be all right. Take it as an experiment and address me as your wife. Kim Gongja opened his mouth but couldn't speak. Raviel Avanzia chuckled. What's wrong? Are you embarrassed? Kim Gongja remained silent, his face flushed. Raviel Avanzia laughed softly. I knew you'd be. I'll do it first then, my husband. Kim Gongja's voice trembled slightly. My wife. Raviel Avanzia smirked. One more time. Kim Gongja looked into her eyes, uncertain. My wife. They stared at each other in silence, Kim Gongja still looking confused. Raviel Avanzia teased. Are you being shy right now? She smiled warmly. My man is just so lovely. Kim Gongja pulled Raviel Avanzia into an embrace, whispering, My wife. Raviel Avanzia smiled softly. My husband. Kim Gongja thought to himself, this is the sound of her heart. This is thanks to time being turned back to before she got her heart stabbed by the holy sword. This is what her heart used to be like. So warm. A system notification echoed. There is only one objective for this stage, to stop this world from being destroyed. The top reason for its destruction was the fragment of the holy sword going berserk due to Lavielle's wish, and that has been resolved since the prayer sword was not stabbed into her heart. A system notification echoed, however. Due to this, the constellation that would have protected this world has disappeared as well. The otherworldly beings that tear through the skies of this world on the last day and descend upon it. They will definitely become stronger when they visit. This stage isn't cleared yet. The Lady of the Silver Lily, Raviel Avanzia, turned to Kim Gongja and said, We'll have our wedding ceremony 1 month from now. Kim Gongja blinked in surprise. That'll be exactly 10 days after I possess this body. Raviel nodded. Yes, I intentionally arranged it to be the same day. That was supposed to be the day this world would face its destruction. Our wedding day will reject the supposed last day of this world and mark the starting point of our new life. Kim Gongja thought to himself, she's so dashing. Raviel continued, I'll have to go through quite a bit of trouble to make that happen. First, I need to break off my engagement with the Crown Prince. Then, I need to take over my father's position as Duchess. It would be hard to marry you as just a lady of my house. The legal procedures would be complicated, and it would cause unnecessary commotion if I married a commoner. It'd be better if I took you in as my husband after I became Duchess. Kim Gongja hesitated. Oh, based on the memories of the butler that I have, isn't it quite hard to become a Duchess? Raviel smiled confidently. Yes, It would have been hard for anyone who wasn't me. But I am Lavielle Avancia. Kim Gongja thought. That was so cool, Ravielle continued. The vassals of my household have already sworn their loyalty to me. I also have authority over the troops. If my father insists on keeping his title, I have the option of asking the emperor for help. I have more than enough evidence of the crown prince's adultery. His Majesty is very competent, considering this is a special stage that you got involved in personally. He is someone who has had to protect the dignity of the imperial family while staying loyal to my father, who has no real power. Kim Gongja raised an eyebrow. He sounds like a loyal person, but you're saying you'll make use of his weakness to threaten him, aren't you? Ravielle tilted her head and said with a smile, Husband, yes, my wife. What you're doing goes beyond this world. It involves the tower. I would have understood your decision if you chose to leave my world, this empire. I'm saying I know you'll understand that I cannot give up my title. But there will come a time when you'll need to accompany me for events, things like end of year and New Year parties. And what the Duchess and her husband do will always have to be political. You'll need to get used to the political side. Kim Gongja nodded seriously. I understand. You're saying it's possible to be loyal to the emperor, yet threaten him. Just because you become Duchess, that doesn't mean the empire will suffer any losses. On the contrary, the country will be lucky to have such a competent noble. Ravielle smirked. You understand situations so quickly. Kim Gongja grinned. Of course, I'm your man. Ravielle's eyes softened. I love you. From the back, the Sword Emperor watched in shock, muttering, Freak! Who the hell suggested teaching this nutjob how to love? A system notification appeared. Sparkly points at the Sword Emperor with a sad heart. 999th norm of romance fantasy. Love needs no norms. Later, Kim Gongja met with Lady Goldenflower, Sylvia Agony. Lady Goldenflower, I have something urgent to tell you, Kim Gongja said. I'm getting married soon. Sylvia, caught off guard, spat her tea like an unrefined noble. Married, she exclaimed. If that's a joke, you're really bad at them. Are you asking for a beating? I'm not joking, Kim Gongja said calmly. My wedding date is set to be a month from now. Sylvia froze. Who are you marrying? Lady Silver Lily. Sylvia scoffed. Oh, come on, I knew you were lying. Kim Gongja calmly pulled out a contract. Please sign here. What is this? Sylvia asked, confused. This is a document that says you agree to my marriage with Miss Lavielle Avancia if it happens. I will be freed from your shadow and become the husband of Lady Avancia. Husband? Are you serious? Honestly, it'd be more believable to say I'm becoming the empress of our empire. Kim Gongja smirked. Well, that's actually going to happen then. Will you please sign it? Sylvia grumbled, but signed the document. Oh, gladly. With this, it'll become another embarrassing experience for you. Thank you, Kim Gongja said. Tomorrow I'll be calling my wife here. The next day, Kim Gongja entered with Lavielle Avancia. I've brought her here, he said. Lavielle stepped forward gracefully. I believe you already know me, but I'll introduce myself once again, she said, her voice poised and commanding. Sylvia stared, wide-eyed and shocked, as Lavielle continued. I am the daughter of Duke Avancia and his successor, Lavielle Avancia. With a practiced elegance, Lavielle closed her fan like a noble villainess. The lady of the Silver Lily, Lavielle Avancia, smiled as she addressed Lady Goldenflower, Sylvia Agony. I'm truly glad that I'm engaged to your butler. Sylvia blinked in confusion. Pardon? Ravielle continued without missing a beat. The butler is a servant of yours. I thank you for agreeing to our marriage. She held out an envelope, then with a practiced flick of her wrist, threw it like a shuriken. The envelope embedded itself in the wall with precision. You ought to be happy, Ravielle said coolly. You're the first to receive our wedding invitation. It's a little gift from us to you for looking after him this whole time. Kim Gongja stepped forward. Lavielle, shall we go? Ravielle turned to him with a stern look. I told you to call me your wife in front of others. My apologies, my wife, Kim Gongja said, scratching his head sheepishly. I'm still not used to being so formal. Ravielle chuckled. You're so clumsy, but that's what I like about you too. As they walked away, Sylvia cried out, This marriage is not valid. But her words were ignored as Kim Gongja looked lovingly at Raviel. I love you, he said, and I love you, Raviel replied, her voice soft yet unwavering. A few moments later, Raviel spoke to Kim Gongja with a calm yet resolute tone. I've confined my father in the annex building. Servants gathered around, bowing respectfully. Congratulations on your engagement, my lady, they said. While there are still people within the family who follow my father, there are only a few of them, Raviel explained. I'm essentially already Duchess of Ansia now. The servants bowed lower. Greetings, the second moon of our empire, they intoned in unison. People will address me as the Duchess now, Raviel declared. May glory forever be upon the Avansia household, the servants replied. Kim Gongja, overwhelmed by the formalities, whispered to himself, Is what they're doing okay? They're children of nobles, but they're bowing to me, a butler. Raviel overheard and smiled. It's okay if I want it to be, and soon you'll be adopted by the Grand Chamberlain. Kim Gongja's thoughts raced. I'm sure they don't feel happy about this, though. But this feels pressuring in a different way from what a popular star feels, Raviel reassured him. You'll be someone influential who has looked after the imperial family for a long time. You'll also have a noble title and a great reputation. We'll skip all those troublesome procedures. We just need a signed document. Kim Gongja reflected inwardly. At first, I was just Kim Gongja. Over time, I became the hunter, Death Sovereign, after earning my nickname, and now I'm about to become the husband of the most noble lady in this empire. Raviel interrupted his thoughts. You've done so much for me in ways that I don't even know, Gongja. While the people here don't know it, you saved this world from a crisis, and you'll continue to save worlds. Wouldn't it be nice to do whatever you want in times like this? Kim Gongja looked at her with sincerity. No. I'm going to spend my life with you forever. I don't want to obsess over what I've done for you, because compared to that, I want to do even more for you. I hope that meeting me will be the most fortunate thing that's happened in your life. I hope that being with me will be the happiest thing that's happened to you, and I hope that I'll become the most meaningful thing in your life. Raviel's eyes softened as she held his gaze. This isn't anything like mere fortune or happiness. You are my one and only miracle. Sylvia, still fuming, burst into the room. This is not valid, she shouted. Kim Gongja turned to her calmly. Didn't you sign the document already? I only signed it because I thought it was a joke, Sylvia snapped. This is strange. This didn't happen before. Was it a butterfly effect because of me? Kim Gongja tilted his head. Cow that harvest ruins? Sylvia blushed furiously. It's nothing, whatever. I'm sure Lady Silver Lily is the one behind all this. Kim Gongja corrected her with a smirk. It's Duchess Silver Lily. That'll be her new title soon. Please mind your manners. Sylvia gritted her teeth. Ugh, you're so annoying. I won't forgive you, she screamed, pointing accusingly at Raviel before storming out and slamming the door behind her. Suddenly, the Heresy Inquisitor burst into the room, a crazed look in her eyes. Death Sovereign! I think I've become the female protagonist of this apocalypse. Kim Gongja sighed. Cult interrogator? Yes, Death Sovereign. 10 days from now, constellations from other worlds will invade this world. Please prepare for war with them. SSS rank cult interrogator. Kim Gongja reflected inwardly. Cult interrogator? A first-generation hunter of the tower. A psychopath who suppressed the chaos of the early days of the tower with blood. A specialist on religions who works under the Pantheon, which governs all religions on Earth. The cult interrogator raised her arms dramatically. Divinity is basically a law, she declared with fervor. Kim Gongja sighed again. Here we go. For example, a law that exists in our world, Earth, is the law of physics, Heresy Inquisitor began. The laws of physics are like a Windows operating system. They're not special in any of the worlds. But there are nuclear weapons and guns on Earth, right? The fact that the laws of physics apply universally means that these two things can appear in any world. Even though these technologies aren't exclusive to Earth, it's undeniable that they are incredibly powerful weapons. If we use them, we can fend off most apostles of the constellations. The lady of the silver lily, Raviel Avancia, nodded in understanding. I see. Since the laws of physics apply universally, physical force would work on them as well, Heresy Inquisitor beamed. You've understood it perfectly. It's reasonable to conclude that physical attacks would work on anything with a physical form. The only concern now is whether the physical attacks will have a normal effect or a reduced. Sword Emperor chimed in, impressed. He's pretty smart. Yes, Heresy Inquisitor agreed. The Constellation Killer shattered Sparkly into pieces with aura. I can also hold my ground if I wield a sword, and the Black Dragon Guild leader used powerful beams to defeat the hungry demon. Physical force is a truly powerful law. A system notification suddenly appeared. Sparkly nods sadly. Sword Emperor nodded thoughtfully. Depending on how we can manipulate the laws of physics, that will determine how tough the constellations are. Heresy Inquisitor raised a finger. What I mentioned about the reduced effects of physical force is crucial. The constellations might not be fully restrained by the laws of physics. Raviel looked thoughtful. Since each of the constellations has their own law, they might be able to resist the laws of physics through that. Heresy Inquisitor clapped her hands in delight. You are truly brilliant. You understood that perfectly, as expected of the Death Sovereign's wife. Kim Gongja leaned in, his expression serious. The essence of our fight with the constellations will be that each constellation has their own law, and the apostles who follow them will also adhere to that law. Raviel's curiosity piqued. What kind of laws could they have? Heresy Inquisitor smiled, her eyes glinting with excitement. Let me give you an example. There's a constellation known as Varvit. He's the god of love. This constellation interprets everything in the world through love. In the world, Varvit rules. Neither power nor money is important. Love power determines how strong a person is. Kim Gongja frowned. Love power? Heresy Inquisitor gestured dramatically. A picture speaks 1,000 words. She activated her power, invoking her holy technique, Love God. The air around them shimmered as a powerful aura surrounded Heresy Inquisitor. Kim Gongja and Raviel exchanged confused glances. Heresy Inquisitor grinned. Coming in! Before either could react, Kim Gongja was struck in the back, causing him to stumble forward into Raviel. He collapsed into her, his face pressed against her soft, white, fluffy chest. Raviel gasped in surprise. Huh? Gongja, it's a little embarrassing to do this in front of others. Kim Gongja's face turned bright red. Oh, wait! Raviel, I'm not planning to do anything, I just fell. Heresy Inquisitor shrugged nonchalantly. In Varvit's sanctuary, all actions lead to love. Even if you fall, someone nearby will be pulled along. She continued, her voice full of enthusiasm. If you drink water, it'll spill onto a white shirt, making it translucent. The sanctuary is a mechanism that reinterprets the world and brainwashes others. Just like how we were forced to become characters of a story within the great library of all creation, because that world is a collection of stories. The constellations use their own laws to counter our laws. I call this a holy war, or rather, a constellation war. Kim Gongja, still recovering from his surprise, frowned. So what should we do about the constellation war happening in 10 days? Heresy Inquisitor nodded, her tone serious. We first need to identify which constellations we'll be up against. Do you know their names? If you tell me, I'll use my skill, Encyclopedia of Gods, to search for their information. Is it okay to use their nicknames? Kim Gongja mulled over the options. Sure, we'll go with nicknames. Cow that harvests destruction, the warhorse of the eternal plains, the undying evangelist of happiness. Heresy Inquisitor's eyes glowed with knowledge. The constellation known as Cow that harvests destruction is Mutia. This one handles destruction and reinvention. It can manipulate all sorts of physical forces, destroying vast areas or disassembling beings' physical structures and reassembling them. Rarely, it can even affect time itself. Kim Gongja blinked in realization. Time. Heresy Inquisitor nodded. Because time is also a physical law, she continued, delving deeper. The constellation known as the Warhorse of the Eternal Plains is Mahos. He governs jealousy and war. He can either send people into a battle frenzy across a wide area or obtain wisdom through strategy and tactics. He can even reverse the power, forcing peace through war prohibition. Raviel nodded knowingly. That's no surprise. since peace is a state where war is halted. Heresy Inquisitor frowned slightly. I don't know the name of the undying evangelist of happiness. It seems like that's not a very famous constellation. Kim Gongja thought to himself, not being famous could mean it's a weak constellation. I wonder what its advantages might be. Raviel sighed. There are 3 different types of enemies. That's troubling, Heresy Inquisitor added. The amount of power an apostle has depends on how much authority they can borrow from divinity. This makes things even more complicated. Kim Gongja, still processing the information, nodded slowly. Even so, we now have a rough understanding of what to expect. Thank you for sharing this information. Heresy Inquisitor smiled. It's part of our duty to help save this world, after all. I also have another skill in the holy technique that allows me to borrow almost all of the divinity's power if I know their name. By adding everyone's strengths, I'm certain we'll find a way out of this. Kim Gongja and the Lady of the Silver Lily, Raviel Ivanzia, looked at each other. They said, So, love. The Lady of the Silver Lily, Raviel Ivanzia, said, Love. As Heresy Inquisitor peeked, she said, Death Sovereign, something strange. My heart just felt a tingle. I also heard your synchronization rate has increased. What is this symptom? Kim Gongja said, Myocardial infarction. Please pay more attention to the synchronization rates. The love we just spoke of has other meanings than the usual ones, Heresy Inquisitor said. What is it? Kim Gongja replied. Sorry, but I can't tell you. Let's just say it's sort of a secret weapon. The Lady of the Silver Lily, Raviel Ivanzia, said, As the authority of this world, I can't send away the security troops of the wedding venue as I please. But we could try to borrow the special forces from the Emperor. Heresy Inquisitor said, Oh ho! How big are the special forces? The Lady of the Silver Lily, Raviel Ivanzia, said, My husband's adopted father is the Chamberlain and the Special Forces captain as well. The number of troops he can gather would be. Kim Gongja said to Sword Emperor, What do you think, Sword Emperor? Sword Emperor said, About what? Kim Gongja said, Look at how the 2 female protagonists are understanding each other. That looks hopeful. Don't you feel like this operation will definitely be a success? Sword Emperor said, Pull yourself together. Dealing with 3 apostles is no easy feat. Kim Gongja said, How dangerous are they? Sword Emperor said, About 1.5 times the size of the hungry demon on the 12th floor. Kim Gongja said, The hungry demon is a constellation, though. The ones we're up against are just their apostles. They're probably weaker than a constellation, right? Sword Emperor said, The hungry demon was the lowest-ranked constellation. Based on your tower rankings, it's about D rank. Kim Gongja said, That's the rank of the 12th floor's hungry demon? Sword Emperor said, Yes. Well, I'm not worried since you guys are the ones fighting. But you want to clear the tower with 0 casualties, right? If that's the case, you'll need to think hard to come up with good plans. You need to improve your own fighting abilities too. You don't intend to stay a D rank forever, right? Kim Gongja said, Of course not. A few moments later, a servant said, You're so handsome today, Sir Gongja. Another said, You look so elegant. Her friend said, The Duchess is so lucky, Kim Gongja said. I'm really thankful for your compliments. But could you guys calm down a little? A servant said, No, not at all. Her friend said, Because today's the one day that you should become the most handsome person in the Empire. Kim Gongja said to himself, thinking of Anastasia, a sense of déjà vu. The Grand Chamberlain said, Congratulations on your marriage, Sir Gongja. I'm your adopted father. I hold a small title within the imperial family and work for them. I've heard a lot of good things about you. Kim Gongja said, My goodness, nice to meet you, the Grand Chamberlain said. You can just address me as father. I know you won't be able to call me that from the bottom of your heart, but I'll make sure to act in a way that won't bring shame to the dignity of the Ivanzia family. I intend to retire after your wedding ceremony. Duchess Ivanzia has made preparations to look after me, so you need not worry about taking care of me in my old age. Kim Gongja said to himself, Just how much did Lavielle do to prepare for this day? She truly is a very competent person. Even though we're just father and son for today, seeing as how there have been requests for more security troops and a favor of my other title, I'm assuming today's wedding won't be a smooth one. Outside, someone shouted, Ga! Sword Emperor said, "Zombie, get ready, here they come." The lady of the silver lily, Raviel Evanzia, stomped her foot and said, "They've appeared. Everyone, you are to follow my orders from this instant forth. All troops from the Divine Dragon Squad are to gather in one spot. My vassals are to guide and evacuate the guests. Blue Lion Knights, get into formation. I order you as the captain of the Special Forces. The Special Forces are to gather and protect the guests. Do we have information on what their abilities are?" Heresy Inquisitor said, "Yes, I've completed the analysis. The lady with the huge hammer is..." As Heresy Inquisitor was hit by Lady Goldenflower Sylvia Agony. Lady Goldenflower Sylvia Agony shouted, "Laviel Evanzia." "I won't let you have anything," a lady said. "Lady Goldenflower." Heresy Inquisitor said, "This isn't good. That's probably the original body of Lady Goldenflower." Kim Gongja, confused, said, "Original body?" Heresy Inquisitor said, "To put it simply, it seems her soul has been captured by a demon. In return for borrowing the power of a constellation, she's given up her ability, appearance, and memories. She probably wished for that to happen, even if she had to sacrifice everything." The lady of the silver lily, Raviel Evanzia, said, "Protect the guests," as they charged towards Lady Goldenflower Sylvia Agony and shouted in pain, "Gah!" Heresy Inquisitor said, "Everyone be careful. She has the body that can't be injured, one of Mutia's blessings." Lady Goldenflower Sylvia Agony said, "You'll be following Laviel Evanzia's instructions anyway. I'd rather destroy everything than give her anything." Kim Gongja said, "Her body can't be hurt. Literally, the actual effect is to reduce physical damage by 99 to 9%. Lady Goldenflower Sylvia Agony said, "O cow that harvests destruction, bestow your blessing upon me." "Laviel," Heresy Inquisitor said, "unless it's a strike that can crush her head in one go, we won't be able to deal any meaningful damage to her." The Grand Chamberlain said, "Who on earth is capable of doing something that ridiculous?" The Apostle said, "That's truly a challenging task, but if no one can do it, we'll all die. Lady Goldenflower alone is already monstrous enough, and there's more coming." Lady Goldenflower Sylvia Agony said, "Poor, unfortunate souls, blame that pitiful girl for this, blame her for possessing that body, and blame that young man. Because of them, we're here to flatten this place. It's only right for you to feel despair. Warriors that follow the warhorse, wake up." A soldier said, "Run away." The Apostle said, "Charge." As the people ran away, Kim Gongja said, "Cult interrogator, what's that apostle's ability?" Heresy Inquisitor said, "He's activated one of the blessings of the warhorse. Battlefield Sanctuary. That's a wide area skill. It can influence a vast area. Its effects are amazing. It reverts all summoned spirits' strength to their prime days when they were still alive. All of those spirits are elites of the elites, the souls of warriors that followed the warhorse." The lady of the silver lily, Raviel Evanzia, said, "The difference in fighting strength is immense. Our numbers are way too lacking." As children above sang, "Lula, la, lula, lula, la," and the people slept, Heresy Inquisitor said, "This really isn't good. Anyone exposed to that song will be forced to be buried in their happiest moments. It's a type of mental attack. Unless you're really strong, you won't be able to come out of it. They're all such devastating abilities." "Aha, yeah. 3 types of enemies to defeat, huh? That's a Herculean task." "Death Sovereign," Heresy Inquisitor looked back and said, "Can I trust that you'll win this?" Kim Gongja was silent as the lady of the silver lily, Raviel Evanzia, said, "Gongja, I should have told you this earlier, but that tuxedo looks exquisite on you." Kim Gongja said to himself, "The apostles of the constellations that wrecked the wedding hall, the guests' agonies of death filling the air instead of blessings. Despite all of that, we will never give up on our wedding." Kim Gongja held the hand of the lady of the silver lily, Raviel Evanzia, and said, "Laviel, you're the most beautiful person in the universe. I promised you, didn't I? I won't commit suicide without your permission. Even if the moment where I must die comes, I'll do my best to delay it for as long as possible." The lady of the silver lily, Raviel Evanzia, said, "Yes, Kim Gongja." "Please allow me to die right now," Kim Gongja said. The lady of the silver lily, Raviel said. All right. As they closed their eyes, a system notification said, You have died. Kim Gongja said to himself, The same death as usual. A system notification said, Returning to 24 hours prior. The lady of the silver lily, Raviel said, Gongja, Kim Gongja said to himself, A regression that's no longer lonely. We're invincible together. The lady of the silver lily, Raviel said, Let's establish our plan. Kim Gongja said to himself, God, please help me. A certain woman had prayed, and her prayers were fulfilled. God, please help me. A certain man who had been by the woman's side also prayed. His prayers were fulfilled as well. The lady of the silver lily, Raviel said, Firstly, we need to change the arrangements in the wedding hall. Now that we know where the apostles will appear from, we can gather the special forces and others who'll be fighting in that area. Kim Gongja said to himself, I realized this as I prepared for the wedding. The lady of the silver lily, Raviel said, The royal guards and my family's soldiers will be dispatched to the west side. Kim Gongja said to himself, Both the groom and the bride are given tremendous authority. We can move any of the guests as we please. The lady of the silver lily, Raviel said, Those among the nobles who can fight will be gathered toward the rear. While these two families are bitter enemies, they're very skilled with the sword. They'll likely express displeasure at having to sit together, but they'll accept it. Kim Gongja said to himself, Things would be much easier if I could steal the blessings of the apostles with my skill. Sword Emperor said, Zombie, didn't I tell you? The tower is utterly heartless when it comes to the strange parts of it. The current you even has various blessings, like when you fought with the hungry demon. And even now you have the blessings of the beauty god and snake god. Kim Gongja said to Sword Emperor, Sure, but that's not related to my skill. Sword Emperor said, Yeah, to be accurate, they belong to the category of buff effects given by constellations using their skills. So if you're that unhappy, go look for the constellations that buff them up and die by their hands or something. Kim Gongja said, I heard you, just shut up. Heresy Inquisitor said, If there's an apostle skilled in mental attacks, we need to reduce the number of guests by a lot, especially the blessing of the apostle who manifests the happiest moments of one's life. There aren't many people who can push back against the poison of happiness spread by the undying evangelist of happiness after all. The lady of the silver lily, Raviel said, Here's the problem. If we reduce the number of guests, it'll be hard to deal with. The warhorse of the eternal plains side of things. That apostle can summon 10,000 troops. If we invite more guests, we'd be vulnerable to mind attacks. And if we reduce the number of guests, we would be overwhelmed by their sheer numbers. Kim Gongja raised his hand and said, Please leave that to me, but I have a condition. A law in the Empire states that only those who will inherit the family after marriage must wear black clothes, right? The lady of the silver lily, Raviel said, Yes. Kim Gongja said, Laviel, allow me to wear black clothes as well. I'm not trying to become the master of the dukedom or anything like that, but... The lady of the silver lily, Raviel said, I know that's not the kind of person you are. It's just that the traditions of the Empire bothered me. However, no tradition would be more important than you looking good. I'll begin the preparations. Kim Gongja said, Thank you. Kim Gongja said to himself, With this, all preparations are complete. A few moments later, outside, the Grand Chamberlain said, The arrangements in the wedding hall are strange. Pardon me, but it feels like this arrangement is designed for combat. Those who can fight have been gathered in the front, and the normal nobles are gathered in the back. Kim Gongja said, I'm sure my wife has her reasons for doing so. The Grand Chamberlain said, I see that you're carrying a sword on your waist. Kim Gongja said, Yes, it's because I enjoy training with swords. As someone who will become the second in command of the Evanzia family, I can't possibly look weak, can I? Moreover, I ought to be prepared for any commotion that might happen at the wedding hall. The Grand Chamberlain said, Understood. I too will hurry and prepare for any commotion that might happen. Kim Gongja said to himself, Great. With this, the special forces will be combat ready at any time. The more people who can stay calm when unexpected situations occur, the better. Laviel has also probably prepared the nobles. A person whispered, "Did you hear? I heard that there are people who are unhappy and against Duchess Silver Lily marrying a commoner. They said that fights could break out during the wedding. That's so terrifying." Her ugly boyfriend said, "I heard as well. I brought along bodyguards because I was feeling so uneasy." Suddenly, the apostles and Lady Goldenflower, Sylvia Avonay, arrived above, and the lady said, "What was that?" A system notification said, "The apostle of the cow that harvests destruction has appeared." A system notification said, "The apostle of the warhorse of the eternal plains has appeared." A system notification said, "The apostle of the undying evangelist of happiness has appeared." The Grand Chamberlain said, "Here they come. Everyone to your places." The ugly boyfriend said, "Good God, what on earth is happening?" Kim Gongja said, "Those who can't fight, please evacuate into the castle. Cult interrogator, climb onto my back." Heresy Inquisitor said, "All right," and she used her power, holy technique, godly transmission. They teleported to the back of Lady Goldenflower, Sylvia Avonay. As Lady Goldenflower, Sylvia Avonay noticed, she smacked them with her hammer. Kim Gongja said, "One more time?" Heresy Inquisitor said, "Okay, holy technique, godly transmission," and they teleported again to the back of Lady Goldenflower, Sylvia Avonay. Lady Goldenflower, Sylvia Avonay, blocked Kim Gongja's attack and said, "Coup!" and smashed them away. Lady Goldenflower, Sylvia Avonay, said, "I don't know what petty trick you're trying to pull, but it's futile. I have an invincible body. Absolutely nothing can harm me. The cow that harvests destruction has given me a body that's immune to damage." Kim Gongja said, "Did you offer your soul to an apostle because you didn't want to get injured?" Lady Goldenflower, Sylvia Avonay, said, "That's none of your business. Everyone only has Laviel in their eyes. All she ever did was be born into a good family. She acts like she's better than everyone else, as if she understands all the sadness in the world. I'll kill her. I'll take everything she has." As Kim Gongja remembered his past messaging the chat group, "I want to become the Flame Emperor too." Kim Gongja said to himself, an indecent and unsightly desire. "I'm in no position to scoff at Lady Goldenflower, but because I'm me, I can shout these very words." Kim Gongja said, "Lady Goldenflower, you ought to know that there are plenty of others who do much worse than you. People understand the pain that they've experienced, which is why when others scream because of their suffering, we ought to have compassion for the loneliness they're experiencing. To everyone who is screaming because they're trapped in pain." Lady Goldenflower, Sylvia Avonay, said, "Nonsense! Who'd want to live such a life?" Kim Gongja said, "Sparkly." A system notification said, "Sparkly has responded to the hero's call." Kim Gongja said, "Change into the sword of compassion from the sword of idol." Kim Gongja said to himself, "She has the body that can't be injured, one of Mutia's blessings. Her body can't be hurt, literally." A system notification said, "My ability is pain." A system notification said, "Those who are cut by me will experience pain, and if they can't be injured, they will not die." A system notification said, "My ability is generating pain that inflicts no wounds." Kim Gongja said, "Sylvia Avonay, I'll kill you from this moment forth." Lady Goldenflower, Sylvia Avonay, said, "Just try if you can." As Kim Gongja hit Lady Goldenflower, Sylvia Avonay, and felt the pain, he exclaimed, "Ah?" She huffed and coughed, feeling the pain in her chest. Kim Gongja said, "Cult interrogator." Heresy Inquisitor responded, "Yes," and she used her skill, godly transmission. Lady Goldenflower, Sylvia Avonay, lay on the ground crying. "Ah! Kuh!" Kim Gongja said, "Does it hurt?" "It probably does." Lady Goldenflower, Sylvia Avonay, said, "Help me, we had an agreement. We entered into a contract. Mutia won't let you off if you leave me like this." Mutia's voice echoed, How strange. A fragment of a constellation. I'm having a hard time figuring out how you got your hands on it, but it doesn't change the fact that I must get rid of anyone who stands in our way. Warriors that follow the warhorse, wake up." Kim Gongja thought to himself. The battlefield sanctuary is a wide area skill. It can influence a large area. Its effects are amazing. It reverts all summoned spirits' strength to their prime days when they were still alive. The Lady of the Silver Lily, Raviel Evanzia, said, "Gongja, the cape looks good on you." Kim Gongja replied, "Thank you for granting my request. I wanted to keep the promise I made to you." The Lady of the Silver Lily, Raviel Evanzia, said, "I understand. Go put an end to this, as you've wished." Kim Gongja raised his sword and said, "100 souls reincarnation." As he summoned the demonic cult and its generals, Kim Gongja thought to himself, the authority of Mahos, battlefield sanctuary. Its effect is reverting all summoned spirit strength to their prime days when they were still alive. The generals greeted him. "Greetings, young leader of the demonic heavens." Kim Gongja said, "Fight for me." The spirit flame demon said, "Yes, young leader, you look especially handsome today. You've even powdered your face. It's like you're getting married or something." Kim Gongja replied, "I am getting married." The demonic cult members were shocked and said in disbelief, "You're getting married? The supreme being of the demonic heavens is getting married." His friend said, "It's not just an engagement, it's a real marriage." The sword demon asked, "Who are you marrying?" Kim Gongja pointed, "Over there." The sword demon said, "She's so beautiful. Our young leader sure has high standards. Sir, how many years of internal energy does she have?" Kim Gongja proudly said, "She doesn't know how to use martial arts." The sword demon replied, "But she's going to be the partner of the ruler of the demonic heavens." The blood demon squad captain said, "Isn't it a little inappropriate for her to not know martial arts at all?" The lunar shadow demon said, "Authority comes with strength, though." The spirit flame demon said, "The blood demon squad won't be able to acknowledge this marriage." Kim Gongja replied, "Oh, I forgot to tell all of you. She's the second most powerful lord in this country, right after the emperor." The sword demon changed his tone and said, "That's a different story then." The blood demon squad captain said, "Not everyone has to learn martial arts after all." The lunar shadow demon said, "Yeah, authority can also come from power." The spirit flame demon said, "Congratulations on your marriage." The demon king of four rains said, "My lord, you're getting married?" Kim Gongja said, "Yes, I am." The demon king of four rain replied, "That's impossible. How could a lunatic like you get married?" "Oh, please pardon what I just said. I mean, is there really someone who'd marry someone as unique as you?" Kim Gongja said to himself, "So that's what you really think of me?" Kim Gongja said, "She really does exist." "Okay, I need you to focus on the battle first. Those are the otherworldly apostles who are attempting to invade and take over this world. They're also the same people who are trying to ruin my wedding." The lunar shadow demon said, "Oh ho! Trying to get in the way of the young leader of the demonic cult's wedding, huh?" The sword demon said, "Damn, they must be nuts." The demon king of fall rain drew his sword and said, "I understand. I guess you've experienced another awakening, pestering us to our prime days. It must be that constellation's blessings." Kim Gongja said, "Yes." The demon king of fall rain said, "Please pardon me for asking, but which constellation are they under?" Kim Gongja replied, "Mahos. He's also known as the warhorse of the eternal plains." The demon king of fall rain said, "They're idiots who know nothing but fighting. Please give me your order. What would you like me to do?" Kim Gongja said, "Cut them all down." The demon king of fall rain, without flinching, slashed and cut them all down in one move. Mahos said, "That's impossible. A constellation. To think he's able to command a constellation despite not being one himself." Kim Gongja said, "Crush them." As they charged into battle, the lunar shadow demon said, "These are small fries. There's no need to even use our teachings." The spirit flame demon said, "You low-leaves dare to get in the way of the marriage of the demonic heavens." The sword demon said, "Today we'll present the heads we've cut down as gifts for our young leader's wedding. Anyone who doesn't bring at least 5 heads will die by my hands." The blood demon squad captain said, "These guys never learn." Mahos yelled, "Don't panic, my warriors, follow the lead of..." The sword demon shouted, "Hit here! I heard you're getting in the way of our young leader's wedding." "You little bastard, go to hell." The sword demon slashed at Mahos, and Mahos cried, "Bastard!" He fell from his horse and was easily decapitated. The sword demon held Mahos's head and said, "Did you see that? I'm the demonic cult extermination squad leader, the sword demon. The demonic cult extermination squad will present the most wedding gifts." The lunar shadow demon muttered, "Damn it!" The spirit flame demon said, "Of all people, he was defeated by that musclehead." A system notification rang out. "You've defeated an apostle of the warhorse of the eternal plains." Another system notification appeared. "The effects of Battlefield Sanctuary have ended." The lunar shadow demon groaned, "My internal energy." As the children began to sing, "Lula, Lu, La," Estelle remarked, "That fool. He's no help, despite being an ally. Please forgive us, my lord." As the children continued to sing, "La La Lu," Estelle said, "Since I'm not at my prime, this kind of mental attack is too much." The children kept singing, "Lula, La." Heresy Inquisitor spoke, "Please wait. I'll deploy an immunity barrier." Kim Gongja replied, "No." The children continued their song, "Lu Lula La." The Lady of the Silver Lily, Ravioli Vanzia, said, "If I'm right, the three of us should be fine." Heresy Inquisitor asked, "Ho, really? What kind of magic did you use again?" One of the children of the Apostle commented, "What a weird human. You don't have any happy memories." Kim Gongja said, "No," he thought to himself, "I have a lot of reasons to be miserable. I've lost countless lives, countless comrades, and was trapped for a long time. All the people who used to say I was beautiful have left me. Even if I say that my life is miserable, no one would blame me. But," he continued, "I'm the happiest right now." And he held the hands of the Lady of the Silver Lily, Ravioli Vanzia, saying, "I don't know if you're aware, but today's my wedding day." Kim Gongja thought again, "Among the hundreds of reasons I have to be miserable, the one reason that brings me happiness is the most important to me. It'll be hard for you to find anyone happier than me today." As for the cult interrogator, he's either always unhappy or happy every single day. Heresy Inquisitor replied, "Oh, I knew you'd understand me. I'm always happy. I knew you'd see right through me, Death Sovereign." He used his skill, holy technique. As Heresy Inquisitor leapt, the children looked above and commented, "What a strange human." A system notification said, "You have defeated the apostle of the undying evangelist of happiness." Lady Golden Flower, Sylvia Agony, was on the ground. Kim Gongja looked at her and walked toward her, saying, "The cow that harvests destruction, please grant new blessings upon me. In exchange, I'll offer up my existence itself." She sneered, "No, I'll turn this whole thing into a hot mess just as you desire, to destroy everything. I'm good at doing things like that." Lady Golden Flower, Sylvia Agony, looked toward Kim Gongja and shouted, "This is a breach of our contract. You said you'd give me the power to create fates. So, why? Why is there some crazy bitch in my body? Give my body back to me." Heresy Inquisitor replied, "Oh, that isn't accurate. To be precise, my body's gender is male, and I'd advise that you use healthier words." Lady Golden Flower, Sylvia Agony, screamed, "Motherfucker! This isn't right. This is all wrong. I'm definitely qualified to become the queen. I'll climb to even further heights than Ravioli Vanzia. That's my fate, the fate that I've created." Kim Gongja slashed at her, and Lady Golden Flower, Sylvia Agony, cried out, "So, ugh, you monster!" She blocked Kim Gongja's attack. Suddenly, the sword of compassion shone brightly. Her body was struck, and she felt pain, shouting, "Ack!" Kim Gongja said, "Choose. You've lost your place in this world. Even if you run away now, you will no longer be Lady Golden Flower. You'll only be the apostle of a constellation. I'll give you a chance. If you choose to remain as a constellation's servant, you can do as you please. I'll let you off. But if you still hold lingering desires for this world and wish to stay here, then give up the blessing that your constellation gave you." Lady Golden Flower, Sylvia Agony, asked, "Why?" Kim Gongja said, "And then die by my sword. You probably saw the battle that just took place. So you should know that I'm able to summon those who die by my hands in a state where they can remember their lives. If you surrender, I'll summon you into this world so that you can continue to live as Lady Goldenflower. Obviously, your life won't be the same as before. You'll be prohibited from showing any animosity towards my lover. But that's all. You'll be able to do whatever else you want, like marry the crown prince or whatever. Lady Goldenflower, Sylvia Avonay asked. Why? Kim Gongja replied, because life is about getting second chances. Lady Goldenflower, Sylvia Avonay asked, why should I trust you? What if you just use me as your slave after summoning me? Kim Gongja said, think about it. Think about why we chose to possess you and your butler. You gave everything to your constellation. Your body and memories were handed over in exchange for your wish, and as a result, the place you once held in this world became vacant. But why was your butler's position vacant as well? I don't know the details either, Kim Gongja continued. But I've transformed into your butler before. What I realized back then was that his feelings toward you were noble. Even if you did become queen, you would never be happy. Lady Goldenflower, Sylvia Avonay gasped. What? Kim Gongja said, it's because you weren't trying to become queen out of love for the crown prince, but because you wanted to be better than Lavielle. Do you really think a life obtained in such a manner would function properly? You're competent, but you're not better than Lavielle. Even if you did become queen, people would always compare you to her and belittle you for the rest of your life. Kim Gongja reflected. This is what a certain butler thought. If Lady Goldenflower hadn't become queen, she would have been happy. The man I transformed into observed how miserable you had been your entire life. He was willing to give up everything to rescue you. Lady Goldenflower, Sylvia Avonay whispered, my butler also regressed. Kim Gongja said, no. Though you made your wish for your own sake, your butler didn't. He made his wish for you. He hoped that you alone would be able to regress. Lady Goldenflower, Sylvia Avonay asked, what? Kim Gongja said, do you remember your butler's name? Lady Goldenflower, Sylvia Avonay, confused, said, huh, of course, his name is... What? Wait, there's no way. Kim Gongja thought to himself, yes. The butler's name has never once been mentioned in this world. What happened? Did my butler disappear completely? Kim Gongja continued. He probably regressed about 3 times in this world. At first, his wish to the constellation was for Sylvia Avonay to regress. The constellation that granted this wish was the cow that harvests destruction. Thus, Sylvia was able to eliminate Lavielle and become queen with the life she gained in her second run. After that, the butler made another wish to another constellation regarding the regression. The constellation who granted his wish was immortal, so the butler had to offer up his entire existence, and the world regressed back to before Lady Goldenflower became queen. Lastly, he wished for Lavielle's regression. Kim Gongja said, so, we will never know the name of the butler. We'll never know how he felt while taking care of you, or what thoughts he had while wishing for the regressions, since his very existence has disappeared. But I know that the butler had hoped you'd live a different kind of life, so my wish is to fulfill his wish. In some unknown void, someone whose name you'd forgotten sacrificed everything for your sake. He loved you and wanted to be by your side more than anyone else, but he gave up everything. Live again, in the way he had hoped you would. As Lady Goldenflower, Sylvia Avonay cried, Kim Gongja said softly, okay, as he raised his sparkling blade. A system notification rang out. The stage has been cleared. The 25th floor has been cleared today. Kim Gongja, the 25th floor has been cleared today. Kim Gongja's father groaned, what on earth happened? Kim Gongja thought to himself, the librarian in a corner only sent 2 hunters in. Another system notification appeared. 1. Death Sovereign. 2. Cult Interrogator. 3. Null. Kim Gongja muttered to himself. So the nameless third raider was, as Kim Gongja and the Lady of the Silver Lily, Raviel Evanzia, stood together and closed their eyes, The lady of the silver lily, Raviel Ivanzia, said, "He is now my husband, the Ivanzia family's second in command. Is there anyone here who objects to this marriage? Good. I will now pronounce that my wedding with this man has successfully concluded." Suddenly, Anastasia shouted, "Death Sovereign! No, Kim Gongja! How could you get married without discussing it with us? I object to this wedding. You're the representative hunter of our tower. Your wedding must be held on the tower's first floor, Babylon City. It must also be broadcast live across the world." "This is void! This wedding ceremony is completely void," Sword St. Marcus Calenbury said. "First of all, I offer my sincere congratulations on clearing the stage. Your romance happened really quickly. I know saying things like that is usually considered rude, but if I had one piece of advice for you, it would be to not get married." The paladin said. "Death Sovereign, while you were clearing the tower, things went crazy here. Everyone questioned how the two of you fell in love with each other. However, I stood firmly by your side, because only those who have experienced love at first sight can truly understand each other. Don't worry, I understand you. I'll persuade the Black Dragon Guild leader for you." Kim Gongja thought to himself, "What is that expression supposed to mean? I don't get it." The lady of the silver lily, Ravia Levanzia, said, "Gongja, my love, it seems there are a lot of people you'll need to introduce me to." Kim Gongja whispered to her, "We're doing the Meet the Family session after our wedding in the Empire." The lady of the silver lily, Ravia Levanzia, replied, "Isn't that to be expected? Among my family members, many live in distant places. The wedding ceremony will gather them all, which is why both families will introduce themselves on the night of the wedding ceremony." Kim Gongja said, "I see, since marriage also means the union of two families." The lady of the silver lily, Raviel Ivanzia, added, "And our marriage is an international one, or rather an interworldly one." Kim Gongja's adopted father said, "I never thought I'd be attending a meeting like this. I have no idea how many pigeon messengers I'll need to send to the Emperor today. I'll have to update him on a lot of things." Anastasia said, "That's true. This isn't something we were expecting either. However, this unexpected incident isn't tragic, it's fortunate. We believe that starting our first meeting with your country through a wedding ceremony is a stroke of luck. It's an event worth celebrating." Kim Gongja's adopted father said, "You are otherworlders who crossed into our world after all. That's something bizarre and hard for us to explain to the Emperor. Announcing this to our citizens will be difficult too." Anastasia replied, "You're absolutely correct. I completely understand the position of your country. But you've also witnessed beings from other worlds invade your country. If humanity denies the existence of these beings, one day, existence will deny humanity. I'm worried about such a future." He sighed. "You're right. Thank you. It seems we have a mutual understanding of what needs to be done moving forward, even if it takes 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, or longer." Kim Gongja thought to himself, "I thought this might become a difficult conversation, but it's starting off well." Kim Gongja whispered, "Laviel?" The lady of the silver lily, Raviel Ivanzia, turned to him. "Yes?" Kim Gongja said, "I would like to introduce you to a few people." The lady of the silver lily, Raviel Ivanzia, looked surprised. "People that aren't present in this room?" They both stood up, and Kim Gongja said, "The night is long. Let's take our time getting to know each other. I'd like to meet my husband's people for a short while." Outside, Sword Demon shouted, "Yeah! This booze from this world is so unique." "Oh, young leader, your honeymoon starts now." The other cultists stood up, and Kim Gongja said, "Spare the formalities and enjoy yourselves." They all cheered, "Congratulations on your wedding." "Congratulations, young leader. Long live the demonic faction." "You two look great together," they said, raising whatever they had in their hands. Kim Gongja called, "Sword Demon, come here." Sword Demon, looking confused, said, "Huh?" The other cultists laughed. "See? I knew he'd get scolded by the young leader eventually. He always forgets to speak formally." "What an idiot!" Kim Gongja said. "Laviel, he's known as the Sword Demon. He's a subordinate of my master." My master was the leader of the demonic cult. She selected the 4 most exceptional individuals from the cult and named them the 4 demonic generals. He's one of them. The lady of the silver lily, Raviel Ivanzia, nodded. "I see." Kim Gongja continued. "He's a simple man, whom?" He speaks roughly and has a cold attitude. The lady of the silver lily, Raviel Ivanzia, touched Sword Demon's muscles and said, "This shows that your master doesn't judge people based on how they speak or behave. Since she found him in a dangerous place, he must be very important and precious to her. I'm Laviel Ivanzia, the Duchess of the Empire, and the wife of the young leader you serve. I hope we get along well." Sword Demon, slightly awkward, said, "I hope to get along well with you as well." Kim Gongja called Lunar Shadow Demon, Blood Demon, Spirit Flame Demon, "Please come here too. These 3 are the remaining demonic generals. I took them in after my master passed away." The Lunar Shadow Demon, Spirit Flame Demon, and Blood Demon squad captain said, "I pay my respects to the wife of our young leader." Kim Gongja said, "They're the elites of the elite who didn't forget their martial arts even when cursed. Now, Hungry Demon, come here." Estelle, standing nearby, said, "Yes, my lord." Kim Gongja said, "Her name is Hungry Demon. She was originally born as a nameless monster. She has the ability to imitate whatever she devours. One day, she ate a human by coincidence, and then she started gathering people with her own strength. After she lost her people to the Empire's army, she became the Demon King and destroyed the Empire. After that, she fought me, the hero, and lost her life. Then I ended up taking her in." "Oh, right. There's someone else." He drew his sword and said, "This is Sparkly." The lady of the silver lily, Raviel Ivanzia, was confused. "Sparkly?" Kim Gongja nodded. "Yes, she sparkles a lot. Her original name was far more imposing, but she was deceived by a bad man and got sealed. I didn't want to use the name Goddess of Protection back then, so I gave her the nickname Sparkly." The lady of the silver lily, Raviel Ivanzia, shook her head. "Your naming sense needs a lot of work. If it were me, I would have named her Brilliance." A system notification suddenly echoed, "Sparkly pledges allegiance to the wife of the hero." Kim Gongja added, "And you can't see him, but I have a friend. You probably will never be able to meet him. His situation is a bit unique. He's unable to appear in front of others. His speech is about 30 times filthier than the sword demons, but he's really strong. I learned how to use a sword, as well as how to harness aura from him." The lady of the silver lily, Raviel Ivanzia, said, "He must be an important person then." Kim Gongja nodded. "Without him, I probably would never have been able to withstand the flow of time." The lady of the silver lily, Raviel Ivanzia, smiled gently. "In that case, I ought to express my thanks to him. I've become happier after meeting Gongja. If it weren't for you, my happiness might have never come to pass. Thank you for everything you've done for him, so that we can be together now," Raviel Ivanzia said. The Sword Emperor remarked, "This brat's a crazy one. I'll leave him in your care." Kim Gongja said, "Laviel, this is everything I have." He thought to himself, "Everything I treasure, the people I've opened up my heart to and let in, my family." Suddenly, the lady of the silver lily, Raviel Ivanzia, held Kim Gongja's hand and pressed it against her chest. "Let's dance," she said softly. Kim Gongja hesitated. "I've never really danced before." "I'm sure you still have some of the butler's memories. Use them as a reference," she replied, a smile playing on her lips. "What if I make a mistake and step on your feet? I'll kill myself," Kim Gongja joked. Raviel Ivanzia removed her heels, preparing for the dance. Kim Gongja blinked in surprise. "Wow." "Now let's dance," she said. As they began, they stepped on each other's feet, laughing as they stumbled. Kim Gongja sighed. "Ah, see? I'm a mess. I've already stepped on your feet 3 times. "It's all right," Raviel Ivanzia responded. "I'll step on your feet the same number of times. We're even now, right?" Kim Gongja smiled as they continued. "That dance that belongs to us isn't about not stepping on each other's feet. It's about not letting our partner's hands go, even if we do step on each other. No matter what misery we experience, we'll smile and gaze at each other's faces. I belong to Laviel only, and she only belongs to me. As long as the 2 of us are together, we'll be able to turn any world into our stage." Our next story will start in stages higher than where we've been. 15 days after both sides met, While the remaining hunters in the library raided the higher floors, the high-rankers met with the Empire's emperor. The tower and the Empire established several secret treaties. However, Kim Gongja decided to deal with these rapid changes in history later, focusing on what he needed to do first. In their room, Kim Gongja said, "La Vielle, this is the sword that tore your heart apart, and it's also the sword that trapped this world in an unending cycle of 10 days. Kim Gongja unsheathed Sparkly and said, "Sparkly," a system notification echoed. Sparkly said, "Yes, hero." Kim Gongja said, "Devour it." He swung Sparkly and an intense light shone. A system notification rang out. The goddess of protection has absorbed one of her fragments. The prayer sword is frightened and shocked. The idol sword tries to convince the prayer sword. The compassion sword tries to convince the prayer sword. The prayer sword is shocked at her fellow sword's betrayal. The prayer sword roars and says she will not serve. Kim Gongja said thoughtfully, "I think I'm starting to understand why Lefanta Agim killed the constellations. At first, I couldn't understand his reasoning, but I've realized something in this world. Constellations would invade other worlds and try to rule them as they please, ignoring what the natives of those worlds thought. While their appearances differ, the librarian in a corner is the same. He throws living people into stories as characters to interfere with them. In the aspect of judging worlds as he pleases, he's no different from the other constellations. In a single word, a nuisance, it's violence. Lefanta Agim is someone who would even harm the Emperor. He must have had many thoughts in the presence of the constellation's power. He must have started planning then. Instead of making use of the constellations and coveting their power, he decided to kill them all. This world most likely had a constellation too, but Lefanta Agim probably killed them. Still, your original owner was wrong. If a world no longer has a constellation, another one will simply be born to replace them. In the continent where the goddess of protection was sealed, the demon king of autumn rain appeared. In this world, the heart covered by silver appeared. To keep things short, your owner didn't resolve the problem. He just went around and created bigger ones. If you disagree, then tell it to my face. Maybe your owner did go through great trials, difficulties, and a lot of thinking before deciding to take on the role of constellation killer. But one thing I can say for sure is this: if he started something, he should be responsible for seeing it through to the end. In another world, where your owner killed a constellation, an everlasting winter took place. The warriors of that world were disrespected as they became moving corpses. Even if Lefanta Agim's ideals are noble, what he did can't be forgiven. Take responsibility for it. As the wings covered it, a system notification sounded. My name is Prayer. My original role was to fulfill the prayers of the people. Lefanta Agim prayed for this, to kill all the constellations so that no one would ever be toyed with by them again. His prayer was a noble one that was heavy but grand. That's why I entrusted myself to him. Human, what is your prayer? Kim Gongja said. To not run away from anything, to not look away from things that happen right in front of my eyes, to not change, to take responsibility for my words and actions, to not simply go along with what the world thinks is right, if it is wrong, as long as I live and have my sword. A system notification echoed. Ah. The path to hell is always made to look like one with good intentions. What I can do now is to bless those good intentions of yours. However, to be in this hell of yours together with you is a separate matter. My ability is to test. When I pierce through the heart of someone, their wish will be tested. Whether that truly is their wish, whether they want it fulfilled, no matter the sacrifice. My cursed ability is to make them give up their own wish by themselves in the end. New owner, I hope you flourish in this hell for a long time. Kim Gongja exhaled in exhaustion. Phew! The lady of the silver lily, Raviel Ivanzia, asked, Is it over? Yes, Kim Gongja replied. There are no more constellations or fragments that'll bring chaos to this world, at least for the time being. Raviel Ivanzia nodded. It's a world that an alliance of 3 apostles failed to capture. You can rest easy now. They're not foolish enough to scheme against you again after seeing how powerful you are. Kim Gongja looked at her skeptically. It feels like you're saying that, so I'll hear it. sensing the tension. "Duchess, are you overthinking what you said?" Ravi-Elevancia responded. "Your hearing is pretty good. I did say it so you'd hear it." She turned her attention to Kim Gongja. "Keep reflecting on your own foolishness. I'm sure you know who you have to thank, so the public would know you as the pitiful noble whose body was stolen by a demon. You should be thankful that your only punishment ends with just bowing your head to serve me." "Ugh," Kim Gongja grunted. "Once I see that you've repented enough, I'll work with my connections in the temple to restore your honor. Until then, just keep your mouth shut while serving me and my husband." "Ugh." Ravi-Elevancia softened. "Be extra thankful to my husband, who has allowed you to have another chance at life." Kim Gongja reflected to himself. "This is the ending I've created." He turned to Ravi-Elevancia. "Lavielle, I'll head toward the next stage." "Okay," she said with a gentle smile. "I want to follow you and see other worlds, but we both have things we must tend to separately. Go wild out there, Gongja. If you feel tired and need comfort, come back any time. I'll be here." Kim Gongja nodded. "Okay, but if you're all right with it, I want to build a house that belongs to us. I have a piece of land on the 20th floor of the tower. I'm thinking of building it there." Ravi-Elevancia's eyes widened. "Wow, I guess that'll become our main house next time." "In that house, I won't be Duchess Avancia. I'll just be your partner." Kim Gongja smiled. "I'm looking forward to it." Ravi-Elevancia handed him something. Kim Gongja looked at it curiously. "What is this?" "It's the hand towel that I usually carry around. I used magic to keep the perfume on it. It's the scent of white lilies, the flowers you smelled as you fell in love with me. You'd always fiddle with your short sword's handle when trying to calm yourself down. That's a bad habit. Replace it. When your heart is agitated, smell that hand towel instead. Gongja, I wish that the reason you're able to stay as you are isn't because of misery or suffering. I hope that your memories and love for me, along with the happiness you feel when you're with me, will help you remain as you are." "Can you fulfill my wish?" Kim Gongja nodded. "Okay, I'll do just that, Lavielle." Ravi-Elevancia smiled warmly. "I love you." "I love you too," Kim Gongja responded. They kissed, a promise between them. Kim Gongja whispered, "Transmit," and walked away. Anastasia stood seriously. "Welcome back, Death Sovereign. Take a seat. We need to talk." Kim Gongja was caught off guard. "Black Dragon Guild leader? What's the matter?" "Wait, now that I think about it, where have all the other hunters gone?" Anastasia answered, "They went away because we have something to discuss among ourselves. What I'm about to say now is confidential. Well, although this scene of us talking is being broadcast to the tower." Kim Gongja raised an eyebrow. "What's so important?" The Heresy Inquisitor chimed in with a smile. "Aha! To put the problem we've been having recently into simple words. Death Sovereign. You've become too successful." Kim Gongja blinked. "What?" The Heresy Inquisitor continued. "Think about it. In Chronicles of the Heavenly Demon, you showed the love between a master and their disciple. The respect and love you showed towards martial arts, and the way you consoled the cult members, excited numerous people. After you cleared Chronicles of the Heavenly Demon, thousands of martial artists from the outside world entered the tower in just a single day." Paladin added, "Someone recorded the broadcast that's transmitted to the tower's first floor and spread it to the outside world. Actually, we allowed them to circulate the video." Kim Gongja raised an eyebrow. "What?" Countess Nisha said, "Death Sovereign, the effects of advertising your successes were tremendous. There was no need to stop them, but I think we underestimated the situation, not you, but the influence that you, as an icon, hold." The Heresy Inquisitor chimed in. 113,654 people. That's the number of people that entered the tower yesterday." Kim Gongja was shocked. "Just from yesterday?" Anastasia nodded. "Yes." She showed her old phone. The Heresy Inquisitor explained, "That number usually only appears when there's a war going on outside or when a country has been destroyed. But excluding small border wars that have happened recently, no other major conflicts have occurred." Countess Nisha added, "That means a huge number of people entered the tower despite it being a peaceful time outside. This is a flyer we got from the outside world." The flyer read, "Make the King of Death our king. Let us head towards Utopia." Kim Gongja was confused. "The King of Death?" Countess Nisha responded, Obviously it's referring to you, Death Sovereign. We heard that such flyers were being distributed throughout numerous regions outside. This wasn't our doing. The people in the outside world are doing this all by themselves. Paladin shook his head. I can't believe flyers are still being used in this day and age. Do you know what this means? He continued. This means refugees from poor countries who don't have access to the internet or are in areas of conflict are joining the tower. People are turning their backs on their nations and the lives they've lived in order to come to the Babel Tower, Viper added. I heard those people wore black clothes when they entered the tower. They said they're going to join the demonic cult. To put it simply, they're entering the tower because of you, Anastasia said. It's not just normal people or refugees either. Even brilliant academics are entering the tower. They say they want to help in creating a new society within the tower. Gongja, you didn't just clear a stage. People all over the world want a hero. The courage to face trials, the respect for humanity, and the devotion to love. Nothing excites people more than a hero who has the willpower to be kind and above board. You've become our flag. She showed the ranking. Today's Hunter ranking, Rank 1, Sword Saint, Rank 2, Death Sovereign, Rank 3, Black Dragon Guild Leader, Rank 4, Cult Interrogator, Rank 5, Count, Rank 6, Viper, Rank 7, Babel's Linguist, Rank 8, Wide Range Combatant, Rank 9, Holy Knight. Kim Gongja muttered to himself, Rank 2 in the Hunter ranking. This is the new rank that the tower has given me. Anastasia smiled. What do you think, Death Sovereign? Are you prepared to become our king? Kim Gongja frowned. You're joking, right? Anastasia replied. Of course, we're not choosing to be in a monarchy system now. You don't know this, but we really spent a lot of effort into creating the current system of the tower. The Heresy Inquisitor laughed. Aha! We actually stand for idealistic anarchy. Paladin sighed. Stop. No need to make this complicated. The king is just a simple symbol. However, a symbol holds a certain power. Gongja, you already possess that certain power. More than 100,000 people entered the tower because of you. Not even the Black Dragon Guild leader is capable of doing that. No hunter of the tower has ever done that before. In the past, we weren't able to take in that many people because there weren't enough rations. But we have enough land and trade routes now. While it's not going to be easy, we can still feed everyone. Countess Nisha added, and most importantly, we've gained experience. I'm not trying to boast, but all the guild leaders here have lived their lives through chaos. Everyone here are experts in surviving chaotic times. Anastasia said, in this world, only we are able to get through such chaotic times. While it's not possible for any country in the outside world, it's possible for us. Death Sovereign, we can do it. Let's show the world that we can create a world that's slightly better. Kim Gongja thought to himself, a dream. Anastasia continued, let's do what no other country in the outside world can do. Let those people running from the outside world have a place where they can breathe a little easier. Kim Gongja thought to himself, an ideal. Anastasia added, we already know what it's like to have a fallen society. That's why we'll be able to prevent it from becoming so. Kim Gongja thought to himself, the Holy Knight who ran away from a certain country in South America. Anastasia said, we know what it's like for people to be suppressed. That's why we can prevent internal conflicts. Kim Gongja thought to himself, the Black Dragon Guild leader who survived in the Black Sea and was caught in wars. Anastasia said, we know what violence looks like. That's why we can make use of it. Kim Gongja thought to himself, the cult interrogator who was raised in a mafia in Eastern Europe. Viper, who grew up in the triad of the Central Plains. Anastasia said, we know what poverty is like, that's why we can overcome it. Kim Gongja thought to himself, the Countess, who was born in the slums of India. Anastasia continued, let's show the world that we can create a world that's slightly better. Kim Gongja thought, I'm the one who changed all these people. When the Flame Emperor had monopolized the #1 rank, the tower remained just a tower. It was a paradise for criminals and death row inmates. The Black Dragon Guild leader always had dead, cold eyes. I can see the world that Master dreamed of. I can change the world, Kim Gongja said aloud. Please tell me what I need to do. Anastasia smiled warmly. You just need to be yourself. That's the most important thing. As for getting used to politics, we'll gradually teach you, she added with a light chuckle. Aha! If it seems like you're straying away, we'll take back your authority, so you only need to be the face of it all. Kim Gongja sighed. Well, I won't deny that, but if I can hand over my position to someone else, I'd gladly do it immediately. Do you want me to tell you how many violent crimes are being committed on a daily basis? Oh, and there are a lot of religious crimes too. In the last 10 days, Kim Gongja thought to himself, what's important is for me to stay true to myself. He suddenly noticed Humustra hiding behind the books. Kim Gongja called out, Librarian, please come over here for a moment. Humustra hesitated. But, is it okay for a mere being like me to be in your presence? I'm a nobody, so please just treat me as if I'm dust floating around the library. Kim Gongja responded firmly, Don't talk nonsense, just come over. Humustra hesitated for a moment, but then moved forward. Kim Gongja said, Please take out the book, that'll be our next stage. Humustra blinked. What kind of apocalypse do you want? Kim Gongja replied with resolve. A fairy tale. Humustra was taken aback. Among the apocalypses that have been given to us, there's only one fairy tale, the sacrificial lambs and me. Please hand it to me. Humustra sighed. What a strange fate. All right, this is the apocalypse that you've requested. A system notification appeared. The sacrificial lambs and me. Genre, fairy tale. Difficulty, a grade. Number of people, 2 or more. As of now, the serialization has been cancelled. Introduction. This world's humanity had founded a utopia that moved through a special force, and that's the screams of innocent children. Thanks to meticulously developed torture techniques and life-extending treatments, they were able to extract 5 years' worth of screams from each child. The sacrifice of one child for the sake of 17 million lives. How efficient! Reason for cancellation. 118,000 years after the utopia was founded, all of the innocent children were depleted, and the utopia lost its force. The sacrificial lambs and me. Kim Gongja thought to himself, It's an apocalypse that caught my heart from the moment I laid my eyes on it. Kim Gongja said, Everyone? I'd like to choose this apocalypse for our next stage. Anastasia raised an eyebrow. A fairy tale book. I'm sorry, but there probably aren't any resources or useful land in that fairy tale book. The difficulty is A as well. Do we really need to clear it? Kim Gongja said firmly, We do. Up until now we've been choosing apocalypses based on how useful they'll be to the tower. The secret martial art manual stored in the chronicles of the Heavenly Demon will enhance the fighting abilities of the tower. Our interactions with the SF world will also greatly increase our technology. Resources and technology aren't the only valuable assets, he continued. Cult interrogator, you said it yourself. Hundreds of thousands of people enter the tower every day. Heresy Inquisitor nodded. Kim Gongja pressed on. What we need right now is something that will keep us centered. Heresy Inquisitor agreed. I agree, but isn't that why we're making you the king? You'll become that center. We'll prepare a fitting title for you as quickly as possible. Kim Gongja shook his head. Such tricks won't work, because it's not just me. Everyone else here needs the support of the people too. That makes sense. But how do you know all this? Kim Gongja replied. There's an original sin we all committed. We did horrible things in the name of trying to bring an end to the chaos within the tower. Sorry, but morally speaking, we're simply not fit. Anastasia nodded solemnly. He's right. We've committed too many atrocities to become flags. Kim Gongja said, You just need to do good from now on. No, please do a good job. We're a team. I can't resolve religious problems as quickly as the cult interrogator does. I can't respond to hoodlums like Viper can. Politics, economy, public safety. I can't do your jobs as well as you, Kim Gongja thought to himself, but I'm confident in banding everyone together, Kim Gongja said aloud. I will never betray any of you. You can trust me. If a problem occurs between any of you, I'll become your mediator. If a conversation is needed, I'll bring it up. Please trust me and become a team. Like you said, there aren't any incredible resources in this apocalypse, nor are there fertile lands either. But there's a sacrifice that no one can allow. Kim Gongja thought to himself, such sacrifices mustn't be allowed. He turned to the group. We'll show the world what kind of people we are by clearing this stage. This is where we make our stand. This is how we'll tell the people the way we'll run the tower. Kim Gongja said with conviction. If we do that, we can gain the people's trust. We can ask the residents of the tower to trust in us. Heresy Inquisitor said, Their trust toward the administration, huh? Kim Gongja thought to himself, We mustn't look away from sacrifices. Countess Nisha said, The requirement for participants in this apocalypse is 2 or more. Kim Gongja thought, Even if difficulties await us, we'll break through head-on. Kim Gongja spoke aloud, The most trustworthy hunters in the tower, my comrades. He thought to himself, We'll show them the kind of people we are. Kim Gongja said, Please, fight alongside me. There was a moment of silence. Anastasia said, You're asking us to walk such an arduous path. People can become more competent through hard work, just as one can become morally upright and gain authority through effort. But it's almost impossible to be both competent and morally upright as someone in power. It's way too hard. Kim Gongja replied, Someone once told me that the path to hell is always made to look like one with good intentions. In that case, the path to heaven probably has numerous bad intentions present as well. Kim Gongja extended his hand. But that's not enough reason for us to give up, he continued. To the people who gave up on the outside world to enter the tower, we must show them a better world. Heresy Inquisitor grinned. Aha, that's all right with me. A morally justified authority strongly appeals to me. And Death Sovereign, you're the only person who can uphold us to morals. It'd be too much of a pity to lose this opportunity. He placed his hand over Kim Gongja's. Viper said, Ahem, I'm the successor of an orthodox sect now too. The old man always nags at me to possess the heart of an orthodox sect. He placed his hand over theirs with a thud. Well, I'll treat this as showing filial piety to my master and join you. Paladin said, I already activated the lie detection skill from the moment we started talking. I didn't detect anyone lying. I trust your attitude of speaking the truth, the love that you have, and most importantly, your personality. All revolutions will face some sort of failure. In that case, I offer my life and soul to make our revolution the most beautiful failure. She placed her hand on theirs. Countess Nisha said, I can't agree on talks regarding refugees, but it's all right. I'm someone who follows the majority. I'm hoping that the stock I invested heavily in won't go bankrupt. Everyone, please fight a good fight. She extended her hand. Anastasia said, I can't promise a lot of things. I can't guarantee all of your successes, nor can I discard the methods I've used so far. But if we fail and someone among us must die, I'll be the first to do so. I promise you that. She placed her hand on top. Kim Gongja said, I'll promise this as well then. I won't let any of you die in any place or at any time. Umustra said, Great! Death Sovereign, Black Witch, Holy Knight, Cult Interrogator, Countess, and Viper. I'll designate the 6 of you as characters in The Sacrificial Lambs and Me. When you open your peepers, you'll see a world its final curtains before it gets wrecked. Be careful. This'll be different from the apocalypses that you've all faced so far. The difficulty is at this time. Unlike the previous time, I won't be able to bestow many blessings upon you. In this apocalypse, the constellation will be alive and will rule the gaff. You'd be like invaders. The constellation will be hostile toward you, Death Sovereign. The constellation will be especially hostile toward you. As they began to transmit, Kim Gongja, proper baffled, went, What? As they got transmitted. Thank you for watching Rebirth Genesis. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you will not miss the next chapter of the journey. Your support keeps this rebirth going strong. Until next time, stay sharp and keep rising beyond your limits.